Hello everyone. How are you? Hello Silent Wolfer. Hello Ian. You all will just have to give me a couple minutes. I am not eating the last of my dinner. Look, my food took a little bit longer to cook than I thought. So, you know. That. Oh, Robert, hello. Yeah. Yeah. The carrots just would not cook. It was so sad. Billy, hello. Again. Like, I get it. Whoa. Ah, hello, Maestro. Hello, Boru. Hello, Michael. Oh god, excuse me. How much progress have you made? Let me pull up the game again. There we go. Oh god, that's not the right one. There we go. We'll be starting here. Okay, so like a little bit into day 24. Yeah. And I made sure, where's the save file? I redid path B so I could get the reflagging of that medal. So I'm hoping we get the true ending, but I don't know. Yeah. I hope that's all good. Chase! Hello. Okay. Okay. Cause what, I just had to get to like day 20 something of like every route. Or all of the route partners and then do B. That was the condition, right? I think. It is, I don't know. Have a good stream. Oh, okay. All right, Q. All right. I see. I perfectly understand. All right. Roswell pushed past me, then Benson and stood the closest to Dom, Thanatos leaping from his shoulder to mine as he wandered past. Exchange went as planned at first. Oswin was gonna stay. I was going to show your friend the way out. But that's when Memphis got an idea. Heaven forbid. Figured that the deal wasn't good enough for him. So now, he's sending a threat. A threat. And he sent you to deliver that. No, I came here because of other reasons. But we have your friend tied up in the watermill. You know the place, right? Yeah, I know the place. But why there? It's our way off the mountain. Makes for a quick getaway. Then we'll go get him, and you keep Memphis distracted. Easy. I believe that's... there's some other complication. Yeah, Memphis wants you to bring him everything he needs. Roughed up Oswin a bit to get some information, but he was pretty tight-lipped about everything. I know I'm going to regret asking this, but... if we refuse... he's killing your friend first, then Oswin soon after. No point keeping them around if they're not useful leverage. Wait, what? My eyes widened. Was he serious? A feeling from my past... swam? swam, to the swam to the surface. Okay. I know words. It's fine. To the surface, being threatened by Tyson's dad. It was close, but not nearly as intense as what I was feeling now. Was this how Dom felt? Scared and confused? But more importantly, he was alone in in that place. His only company, the very dragon that was likely going to take his life if we didn't play nice. Thankfully, I didn't need to say anything. Benson was the one to protest on my behalf. This will not stand. Then what do you want to do? Well, we need to go save them save them both, obviously. Yeah, how? You're just going to bring a whole time machine out into the woods. I mean, we can throw him Thanatos. But it's a room in the house. We can't do that. You can explain it to the boss then. Not like he's going to listen. Ian Kinza. Hello. So where are here? We're a little bit into day 24. How long do we have? Tonight. You gotta show up before the sunset. You don't show up before the sunset. Okay, they're dead. Then you're next for making him come to you. And all we have to do is just bring the time machine with us. Then he'll let Oswin and Dean go. Your friend? Probably. Oswin? I don't think so. Typical. It's insurance that he's not going to be duped. Surprisingly logical for him. But given the circumstances, I can see why he'd go this route. There's something else, too. And what now? I want to cut a deal. After how well that went last time. Just between us, not involving the boss at all. What deal do you have in mind? I want to be left out of it. Both me and Jack. Pardon? Either you're gonna kill the boss to get off the mountain, or die trying. I don't want to be caught in the crossfire. And how does Jack factor into this? They're gay Roswell. They're boyfriends. What? They're roommates. That's what was established. Now wait a damn minute. So you're not? Jack's going to be so heartbroken to hear that. What assurance do we have that you and Jack will not side with Memphis if it comes to it? You don't have any. If it keeps me alive, that's the option I'm going to take. Well, that's hardly reassuring. And what about Jack? Where will he be during all this? Watching Oswin. All right, well, in that case, we shall need some time to prepare. How much time? How do we even measure that? Our goal is to what exactly? Kill Memphis and we have a day's worth of preparation time? We might not have that. Do we have a deal or what? As far as Oswin is concerned, I will be looking to retrieve him. I make no promise if Jack decides to get in the way. Fine. But as far as Memphis, you'll stay out of the way? He shrugs, leaving it at that. Don't keep him waiting too long. And back into the trees he went, leaving us standing there wondering where exactly we stood on this. Well, that could have gone better. Could it have? Beats me. It sure feels like we're out of options. We've been put on a timer at the very least. Though taking down Memphis is a big ask. Given guns aren't an option, doesn't leave us much. So what does work on Memphis if we can't use guns? Munition to really make that viable. Is poison out of it? No, I'm not willing to gamble on poison, given how much he can drink. He'd probably just metabolize it. I have a real dumb idea. Then we should go with it. If it's that dumb, then why suggest it? How dumb exactly are we talking? It better not be magic. Thinking something a little bit more primitive than magic. What, like a sword? When I said it, it dawned on me, though I didn't like exactly what was being insinuated. We have one of those. Excuse me. I don't believe he meant that as a, legitimate suggestion. At some point at the point we're at, should we really be ruling anything out? It can't be lifted, though. So, it's not that it's a great suggestion. Sal could probably do it. Oh, okay. Or, we could just use a smaller knife. If the scales are tough enough to make him bulletproof, I don't think a display sword is doing it. In this case, quite literally cut it. That, and we need a surgery or something. He's just fucked. Unless they go in through his mouth, maybe. If his insides are vulnerable, then we might have options. Like, getting him to swallow something that comes to mind immediately, but we don't have much hope of that. Unless we sneak some razor blades or something into his booze and get him to drink it. Think that might work? No. So what can we do? It's not like we can just hand over what he wants, even if we wanted to. Hand me over to him. This is just a body anyway. How's that going to help? He wants the time machine, not a rat. Inside my body is a USB. All the source code to make another vault. Or at least that's what Osmond said when he put it in there. What? What? So we're, saying that he can just make his own? I thought he wanted the complete thing. He doesn't exactly strike me as a patient type, to take that option either. USB, no. No, Ian, don't. No. Oh, hello, Grizz. No. No. We can't talk about this. We can't talk about this in chat. So what? There'd be a second vault? Another version of you out there somewhere. There's only one me, Dave. The USB is a fake. So? We try to dupe him with that instead. That feels even less likely to work. Well, I'm not hearing any better ideas. We have a display sword, an idea to get the guy to drink razors, some amount of guns, and what? One last plan to dupe him and get away. But then we have to worry about him following us, right? That's a fair point, yeah. I sure as hell want off this mountain, and don't want anyone following us home. Which means we really do need to kill him. When you put it like that, sounds almost impossible. But there has to be a way, right? Some weakness or something. It's not like he's immortal. Unless... He's not immortal. And he's in good shape, he's in good shape too, I think. So, hoping for a heart attack or aneurysm isn't going to work either. If either of those things happen, I'd be impressed. Well, if the sword was sharp, then I guess we could try to go medieval on him. What, like Night Slaying Dragon style? How did you know that word? Look, Ian, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I take it back. I don't like talking about the casual murder of my ancestors. So you were the one that raised it. Well, now I'm just one. I'm the one unraising it. The watermill, huh? Something come to mind? Was thinking that if I was, optional, if it was optional, I'd just blast him with some sound. What, and annoy him? I mean knock him out. That doesn't work. It just makes him all angry and loud, then burns the house down. I'd spoken before I'd even realized it, slowly covering my mouth. Alright. Well, good to know that one. That's one plan we can rule out anyway. Thanatos shook his head and gestured to the railing for me to set him down. So, here's where we stand. Dean is about to die, followed by Oswin, then the rest of us. I went to speak, but Thanatos cut me off. We can rule out Dominic and Jack, maybe, potentially, but in order for any of this to stick, Memphis needs to die. Any questions? We have to kill my dad? Don't get me wrong, I'm not as upset as you might think I am, but... Is it even possible? Bulletproof, display sword proof. I imagine fireproof and poison proof are only making things harder for us. You have that right. So what? Where does that leave us exactly? I don't know. I haven't tested any of this, so if anything's about to go wrong, your guess is as good as mine. Our resources are what's in the house and what area we can reach within reason. Within reason? Like what? I don't think we're going to get shit out of the hedge maze or the greenhouse. There's an axe in there. Or the pool, outside of maybe a hiding place. And hiding is off the table. We'll be found eventually for sure. We can't run, we can't hide, so we fight? You're not fighting anyone. None of us have a choice, Tyson. If it's a choice between us or them. And even if we did run, choosing to condemn Dean, then he'd just continue on until he found us. Even after he got the time machine? It's not a time machine, remember? And once he learns that, and the other people that were here are gone, he's going to come looking for us and try to get it to work. We look at each other, and one by one, I can see each of my friends deflate as the realization set in that we had no good options. How do you bring yourself to kill someone, let alone someone who was likely unkillable? Thanatos, can I ask you something? What? Have we ever killed Memphis at all? As in any timeline. Anything that could offer us a clue. They'll need to check. You clearly remember one way already, at the very least. I gulp, slowly nodding my head. He went immediately still, and Roswell wandered over to scoop him up. Every now and again he twitched, though after the first minute of waiting, I left him to it. All right, well, until we hear back, what do we do? I feel I will have to open the armory up after all. Is that wise? I wouldn't say no to a gun. Do you know how to use one safely? How hard could it be? Taking the safety off, point at the bad guys, pull the trigger. Simple. You know how to take the safety off. Not exactly. I was gonna use that. I guess that's the part where you turn it sideways, if Haas hadn't already clued me in on that being wrong. Good grief. I don't know if it'd be of any... I'd be any good with a gun either. It's absolutely a problem needing to be solved. I imagine anything easy to use isn't going to do much against his hide. We should probably bring Oswin his revolver regardless of what we do. I concur, if only for his peace of mind. But if he's a scientist, would there be Well, would there be anything of use in his lab? He's a scientist. So if there was if there was only he would. So if there, I can read. I can do that. So if there was only, he would know. Not necessarily. What did you have in mind? If he's got the bare basics, nothing there is going to be overly useful. But anything a bit more exotic might be worth bringing. I don't know what he could do with them out in the woods, but you never know. Well, I guess we better go check. It's on the way to the armory as it is. So, at least, that way we can all stick together. Perhaps it'd be best if we split the group in half. I guess there's no other places we need to search. We headed inside, Roswell holding Thanatos as we headed into the basement. Then from there, into the passage behind the secret door. Alright, so, if anything seems useful, be sure to point it out. Useful? As in anything to kill a dragon with? Sure. I'm glad I chose this group to follow. You're welcome to go explain guns to Tyson, then. Did you see how both of them looked following Benson in there? How about how we all feel, I think. Roswell, does anything spring to mind immediately that we could be looking for? This is fine. I think Orlando is probably the better one to ask here. Me? I'm nothing like my dad. Thankfully. When this is all done, you can share your dislike of your dad with Tyson's dislike of his. For now, we can just focus. Sorry, let me think. A heavy-duty injection gun could work, though I don't think we're going to get close enough to do anything with it. Even if we did, aren't his scales like, stab-proof? There are some fleshy parts where you could get to, and maybe get it could work, but... does he smoke? Maybe we can trick him into using one of those exploding cigarettes. Do you just happen to have one of those that actually blow him up? Not exactly, no. Could we use explosives at all? If we're inside a watermill, would that be safe? Dean's inside there, so we'd be putting him at risk if we bring the whole place down. Which we're not doing. In any other situation, I imagine burying him alive would have worked wonders. Memphis, I mean. Oh, good. I was about to say. Roswell placed Thanatos down by Oswald's desk and started to look around. The others did so too, though there wasn't much to look at. Roswell made a beeline directly for the cabinet of dangerous things, and the other two checked the other room. Me, though, I went to Thanatos, trying to shake the feeling that I was being watched again. It's just in my head. It's not real, just need to figure it out. I sat down in Oswald's chair and looked through the drawers that were unlocked, occasionally looking back to Thanatos to see if he was awake again. Thanatos? But he was still twitching, looking through who knows how many different things to find the answer to our problem. Whoa, what about this? Seriously. What do you guys find? I called back over my shoulder, hearing them make a discovery in the other room. I'm not finding much over here that we can use to immediately put him out of action. Just stuff that could make him sick. Dave, how are you doing? What are you doing? Just waiting on Thanatos. Well, Orlando's found something worth considering. What is it? Acid. What, like hydrochloric? I just saw acid and had an idea. Well, what kind of acid is it? Nitric? Well, that's dangerous. Someone really should tell Oswin off for having such dangerous things in his lab. How dangerous are we talking? Very. On a scale of 1 to 10? If 10 is the most dangerous, it pushes 11 easily. If this gets into contact with anything organic, it could explode. Here I was just thinking we could injure him enough. Injure him enough he couldn't recover. Like, blind him or something. So it's not even, it's not even going to be a quick death? What if he gets mad and, I don't know, starts shooting wildly where he can't see? Or decide to torch the place. Which, you know, rescuing Dean. What are we going to do? Wait. What are we even going to do about that? Just walk in and make the trade, or do you think he has him somewhere else? As in, somewhere we could sneak to and avoid confronting Memphis entirely? It'd mean we could do any number of things knowing Dean is safe. Until you remember that, we can't really afford to destroy the place without stranding ourselves on the mountain. Yeah, alright, I'm done looking. Verdict? So to answer the most important question, you have succeeded in killing Memphis more than once. Alright, how? I should clarify, you as a group have managed to string something together. Why is this not filling me with a lot of confidence? Because most of the time where he dies, he takes a few of you out. What options have worked, though? The one that works the most is dropping the house on him. Burning alive, basically. I'm surprised that works. If he can withstand bullets, dropping a house on him I wouldn't have thought worked. Well, it's the easier of the two to set up. The other option is to blow him up. What, with a bomb? Where are we even going to get explosives? Better question is, how you're going to get him close enough without killing yourself. If we could keep Dean safe, then none of this would really matter. We bury him and then just call for help, right? When we don't need to worry about someone killing us, we have a lot more time. True. Roswell looked over to the vial of acid in his hand carefully, nudging me after having decided something. I'm gonna fill a couple of these up. Seriously? More importantly, why? You never know. Might need to burn away the rope holding might need to burn away the ropes holding Dean, for instance. A knife, Roswell. We can use a knife for that. I'm doing it anyway. With a huff, he went back into the other room, Orlando looking between him and us, unsure of what to say. Go on, just say it. Should we bring more than just acid, or...? Do whatever you like. Roswell's wandering off to play with chemicals, has ruled out what I wanted to do. Which was? Knock the three of you out. Excuse me, what? Why would you want to do that? They could have some flash of insight while unconscious. Beats me what they remember. Okay, yes. If you wanted us to remember something, couldn't you just tell us at this point? And run the numbers for every instance for each of you, pass. Sounds like you wanted to do it more for fun than anything else. For what it's worth, I'd prefer not to be unconscious on the floor, thanks. If I put you under, I promise it'll at least leave you looking somewhere dignified this time. What do you mean, this time? I'm going to check on the others. Why? Not as if there's anything else in here I can think of using. Unless there's some amazing poison we know is going to work, or a weapon that we don't already know about. I got up and went to leave the lab when I heard footsteps approaching, instead just freezing on the spot. The others stepped into the lab, led by led by Benson, before I had to go anywhere. I trust nothing is wrong. No, just weighing options. Well, we have the guns now. That's something. Although, we don't have appropriate ammunition as Benson thought. Appropriate ammunition, okay. So where does that leave us? A plan short of how to save Dean, it appears. That just that just sounds like a fancy way of saying we have nothing. We have acid? Pardon. Acid, like, you know, acid? From the other room. What are you going to do with acid? Roswell's planning on just getting some vials of it just in case we needed it. Bullets may not work, but acid potentially. If we could get him and get it into him somehow. What? With the injector gun? Wait, you think we can just inject him with acid? Truthfully, we don't even need acid. Inject enough air injected into an airway will run the risk of causing an embolism. No, say the word, Josh. No! No! I can't do it. Words are hard. Which isn't exactly fast enough to put him out of commission. True. Dave, hey Dave, any idea about what they're talking about? Wait, pneumatic? Pneumatic? Why is there a P? Wait. Language is hard. Oh, hello, River. No. Small pockets of air that cut off blood circulation to the brain would be the simple way to explain it. Oh, if we can do that, then yeah, sure. The P is silent. It's fine. It's fine. I'll never understand. Still need to get close enough. Any idea on what we can do, Benson? You want to go help Oswin and... help Oswin, but he's not where Dean is. Yes, well, I can't rightly let you confront Memphis alone now, can I? When we arrive, Memphis is going to want us to hand over something to him, and even then, there's no telling what he'll do to us after. So, what do we give him, then? Pardon? I have to give him something. We just give him Thanatos, right? That's what he wants, even if it's not exactly going to do him any good. But isn't that, like, bad? Bad how? Like, and now all of a sudden Memphis can do the bullshit of being able to see other people dying. Isn't that bad? Assuming if such a thing would traumatize him enough, potentially. I wouldn't worry about it. Thanatos gestured for us to all come closer, and we stood around the desk he was perched on. He tries anything, and I just turn on myself off. I might not be able to see without this body, but if the plan is to go out and confront him, and I'm going to be out of range anyway. You're just going to shut down? Like that? Wait, what? Did I, what? Nodded. Okay. Thinking about what you can do now, Dave. Imagine if Memphis got to that point as well. Oh, right. Just so we're clear, what exactly are we talking about? Being able to recall trauma without needing to use the vault. Potentially problematic. If his demise traumatized him enough for him to remember what it before it had happened. That creates another problem, though. This assumes that it's not already happened. We can be assured that because I don't remember anything of this branch at all. Well, you wouldn't if you had your memory deleted, right? You have a point. But Thanatos would only delete his memory if this worked, right? Unless you're planning on saying something changed that. I hate to be the one to bring this up, but if we're going to rescue Dean and Oswin, we should probably do this sooner rather than later. The moment it gets dark, we're going to struggle. Are you even ready? Can you even be ready for what we're about to hope to do? I suppose so. But the plan as far as it to go get Dean, then afterwards help Oswin, right? As much as I would like to rescue Oswin first, yes, I believe that it is the best way forward. So, once we've secured everyone some method of defending themselves, should the worst happen, we should leave. It took us an hour, but we eventually all got something and met in the foyer. And not that we felt the extra hour made us any more ready for what we're about to do. Haas had a knife. Tyson had a gun. Sal had been lumped with the sword from upstairs, as well as having a gun of his own. Roswell had his vials of acid, and Orlando had a kitchen knife. It wasn't much, but it was all we had to take down someone that that conventional weaponry just wouldn't work against. We got there. Had a knife gun. Wait. Knife gun? Okay. I'd end up with a hunting knife, and Benson had his own gun, though he'd apparently swapped out the bullets. This only left Thanatos, who seemed to be standing at the steps, lost in thought. Thanatos, are you all right? Maybe. Only maybe? This could very well be the last time we talk. Once we leave the threshold of the backyard, well, I don't know what's happening. What if everything goes well and we come back? I'm going to be off, remember? Oh, right. He wandered up the arm of Roswell when he was offered to him, shaking his head. So, this is it then? This is the last time I can do. The last thing I can do for you all. After I turn myself off, the only code that will work in the door downstairs is the one to actually open it. And you're going to tell us the code? If you figure it out, that's entirely on you. Otherwise, no. Well, thanks, Thanatos. For helping, kind of. I guess I'll take that. He looks to Roswell, holding on to one of his tusks. Roswell, good luck. Be safe. Before I could call him out on his voice being different, he went limp and fell into Roswell's ready hands. Thanatos. I don't like how he just pivoted into another voice randomly there when talking only to you, Roswell. Something you keeping from us? This really isn't the time, but I like to think Thanatos and I were friends. We're friends enough that even with everything going on, he was looking out for us, or me anyway. I guess with him offline, there's not exactly much we can do to ask him about it. But then there's the other thing, opening the door to the vault itself. Don't look at me. I have no idea what it could be. Don't look at me either. Opening at this point doesn't feel like it's going to get us anything new. So, I have some guesses I'd like to try, but we have something more important to deal with. Saving Dean? And Oswin. It's worth raising that this isn't going to be some leisurely walk into the woods. It is going to be incredibly dangerous, and there is no guarantee that any of us is going to come out of this unscathed. Benson straightened, looking at us each in turn. Now, if there's any of you that wish to remain behind, As is the reasonable expectation. Now is the time. And none of us moved at first, looking at one another, though. The looks we shared, were of worry and fear. I can read. This is fine. But Hifumi. Okay. Okay. Amazing. None of us moved at first, looking at one another. Though the looks we shared were of worry. Yes, whoops. But I stepped forward at the same time, shifting uncomfortably on my feet. Dean is a close friend of mine, and important to all of us. So I looked at my friends for visual confirmation, but no one except Sal was enthusiastically nodding. So I want to go. There were murmurs of agreement soon after. Benson looked directly to me. Very well, Dave. I make no promises, but I shall try to keep you all alive. Don't worry. I don't think any one of us wants to end up dead. We'll be careful. We have to be. We set off for the first time. I can remember we were all heading into the woods as a single group. Vague flashes through my head. Vague flashes through my head were of memories where some of us were out there, some at various other spots doing things, but never like this. Even somewhere Dean was with us, which gave me additional pangs of worry the longer I dwelled on the fact that he was not here with us now. Dave? I slowed down slightly to let Roswell catch up, understanding that while his voice was low, everyone turned briefly to see if anything was wrong. I'm sorry. He kept his voice low, occasionally looking about the woods. Maybe I should have tried harder, or be less stubborn, or I don't know. It's not like you're the only one. It's partially my fault Dean had been locked up in the watermill overnight. And given the circumstances, would anyone have made a better choice? I don't think so. I could see Roswell holding Thanatos carefully, and looked back to the others, who seemed to be following Benson almost a single file ahead of us. So he's really gone? Roswell nodded slightly, clutching him closer to his chest. Even though Thanatos' eyes were half closed, he looked no different to how he was normally. Just further proof that he was never really alive to begin with. You have Tyson. I have had Thanatos, so... He sighed, putting Thanatos into his pocket. I have a theory about what he was trying to say right before he shut down. What, about wishing you good luck? About opening the vault, as if he knew that I knew what to put in it. And do you know? Like I said before, I have hunches, but nothing concrete. And nothing I can test out either. Test out here either. I see. When we get back, I suppose we can try them out, right? When we get back. I looked at the rest of the group ahead of us, worried. Roswell put his hand on my arm, breathing in deep. We'll get back. Just you wait. Our continued march was in silence for the most part. Benson seemed to know which way to go, though it all looked for the most part the same. Each little sound, each shadow made me more worried that we were about to be jumped, but it never came. Instead, came the sudden halt of Benson leading the way, causing us all to freeze. Hi. Okay. Benson wasted no time in firing off a shot, loud enough that I could hear it, but it didn't seem to echo out into the woods. He deliberately missed, though, as Jack only seemed to half duck out of the way and seemed unharmed. Well, that's not very nice. Talk fast. Why are you here? Came to talk. About?
You guys seen Dom around? He left this morning and never came back.
Fuck off. We have more important things to worry about. Benson held up his hands. His hand confused. Dominic never returned. You didn't run into him on the way here.
Should I have?
I don't fucking know. If I may ask, who is looking over Oswin at the moment?
He's tied up, so he's not going anywhere. Not with his injury, anyway.
Explain.
Yeah, he seemed to kick up a fuss after Dom had to take your friend over to the watermill. The boss shot him in the leg and then left to swap places with Dom.
But he's alive. Dominic neglected to mention any sort of injury.
Alive enough. No idea what about your friend, though.
Can I ask something? Just, if we're not going to get stabbed.
Well, if you want a bit of stabbing.
I watched as Tyson went to shoot Jack for the moment the knife came out, but Benson beat him to it, shooting the knife out of his hand instead.
Killjoy.
Why did you want to know if Dom was alright?
Because he's my buddy.
Just buddy.
Yeah. What are you insinuating?
What? Josh forces Jack like a gross what? It's fine. That you two are romantically involved, I believe.
Oh, is that what you want to know? What's Dom been telling you?
Well, he kind of cut us a deal. We leave you two out of what we're going to do, and while we get our friends, and you leave us alone.
But that's boring. He could have cleared that with me first.
Am I to believe you're not going to honor that agreement? Believe me, I have no qualms in defending myself, should you, put yourself in the way.
Flip magic cylinder? Oh, God. Well, I'm not going to agree to any deal I wasn't a part of without clearing it with Dom or the boss first.
Tyson lined up his gun again, threatening to shoot.
What? Gonna try to shoot me again? I'll have you know, I have another knife ready to go.
Once again, Benson shot the knife out of his hand, grunting. Are you going to keep running into this problem, or shall we be on our way?
I have more than just 2 knives, but I get your point. If the boss finds out I'm all the way out here, rather than watching your boss, I'm gonna get it.
Fine by me. What? So we're going to let him go after all? Yes. Why? Because as much as I dislike Oswin being taken care of by this one and his compatriot, by comparison, yes, it is much better than leaving him alone with a homicidal maniac.
I can try harder if you like.
Shut the fuck up.
Make me.
Jack, answer me this. Would you rather waste time here or find Dominic? Furthermore, would you rather waste time here and run the risk of dealing with Memphis later, or avoid that by leaving now? And Jack took a step back, frowning for a few moments, and thought.
Fine, but this isn't over.
Yes, it is. Now run along. We have an appointment with your boss. Benson gestures to the knives laying on the soil, and Jack reluctantly backed up enough to pick them up, keeping eyes mainly on Tyson.
It's your funeral. If you see Dom, tell him I was looking for him.
He shot us He shot us all one foul squint before dashing off into the woods. There, Hoss. I'm all right. Promise.
Are you sure?
He's trembling.
He had his hand carefully on Haas's shoulder when I turned to look, easing them away carefully.
It's only a gunshot. That's all. Apologies, though the situation did warrant it. I know.
Are you going to be all right knowing that, Tyson has a gun?
As harsh as this may come across, he doesn't have a choice. Memphis isn't going to care when it comes to firing his gun either. This is indeed true. Perhaps it might be best if Haas does sit out.
Alone? That seems like an even worse idea.
I'm going to agree with Dave. Even sending me off to go see if Oswin is all right would be better. But I'm not volunteering for that either. Well, maybe it would be best if we lingered at the back.
Within the revised walking order, we continued on. My mind was on Dean, though, hoping he was all right and wondering just what had driven Jack out here. He'd left Oswin alone too, so there was a big risk he was taking. he was taking if Memphis found out. Not that I had a choice to consider it for too long. The watermill soon came into view, and we all froze behind the trees looking onward. Somewhere in there was Memphis, along with Dean, as well as our way out.
Now, everyone, there is no telling what is going to happen inside, and nothing good, I assure you. But should anyone wish to turn back now, or wait here?
He looked to each of us in turn, and when none of us budged, he nodded slowly.
Everyone stay quiet. Everyone stay quiet. And as calm as you can be, given the circumstances.
We approached slowly, Benson leading us on, Roswell right behind him as he had Thanatos to toss over. I wondered when we'd hear something, anything to indicate that either Memphis or Dean was in fact in here, somewhere in the dark. I just had to have faith that something would show up soon. He was waiting for us as we descended the stairs, just sitting there on some old machinery. The moment that he spotted us, he discarded a cigar that he'd been smoking in a dark corner.
Brought everyone along, didn't you?
His hand lingered over his gun sitting next to him, showing he meant business.
Hand over what I want, and this doesn't have to get ugly.
Roswell stepped forward slowly and held out Thanatos, setting him on something for Memphis to see, and scurried back behind Benson.
You brought me a stinking rat. That's the best you could do.
That's the Volt. The time machine you wanted, or, I stopped talking as Benson shot me a stern look, though his attention was drawn back to Memphis chuckling.
You know, you'd think a job like this would be easy. Take a guy hostage, random him off to something, get paid double when you get to watch the fear in someone's eyes as they part with something they don't want to. That's always the best part, getting to watch that very moment they have their hope taken from them, when I threaten to put a bullet between the eyes soon after.
Ransom? Oh, okay. I got you. I understand. He rolled his shoulders, placing his foot on a nearby crate and eyeing us carefully.
So here I am, thinking I'll dupe that bear you sent out here with the promise of escape, and he followed me in here like a stooge. You come and rescue him and trade what? A rat for him? Very funny. Thing is, I'm not in a joking mood. Done playing games. Done listening to Dom wanting me to hold off.
He kicked the crate open and rolled out. Where sticks of dynamite. Or if not dynamite, they looked enough like explosives to play the part.
So if you want to play around, fine by me. Just don't expect me to play along. He picked up his gun, and before he'd even placed a single digit on it, Benson had his out and ready to fire. Oh, and fired off a shot. Okay. Secure Dean. Go! Benson's next shot wasn't at Memphis, but rather the explosives nearby. Not that he connected, though probably for our sake. He took cover as Memphis bellowed and started to unload in Benson's direction, missing as he jumped behind a large machine and kept going while he headed in the opposite direction. While Benson and Memphis seemed to duke it out, a gunshot echoed all around us. We desperately searched for Dean. We tried calling out, but his lack of response was explained away the moment we found him. Haas huddled in the corner of the small room. We found Dean in covering his ears from all of the gunshots around us. Sal and Tyson tried to get their ropes holding Dean in place free, using Haas's discarded knife to make the job easier. He took a big gulp of air, looking around quickly. Everyone's here. What's happening? We came to rescue you. Sal gulped by grabbed, not gulped. I don't know. It's fine. Grabbed him by the wrist and led the way out. And Tyson grabbed Haas, and we made a break for it, though we didn't get far. Well, okay. The ground beneath us started to shake, and before us we saw parts of the ceiling above start to fall. From above, a section fell down, and with it was Benson and Memphis. From where we stood, Memphis seemed to have landed better than Benson, dusting himself off and slowly walking closer as if relishing what he was about to do. That's when I saw Roswell and Tyson step forward, though Roswell was a little quicker. Really? Yeah, hey! I looked to Roswell, seeing Memphis look up our way. Don't touch him, asshole! Roswell threw something at Memphis, a vial of something, and it was swiped out of the air effortlessly. Though, through his cocky grin, Memphis crushed it within his hand, a mistake he'd soon realize he'd made. He roared in pain as the acid in the vial started to eat away at his hand, then giving Benson a shot at putting some distance between them. In the throes of pain, Memphis knocked over an old lever, one that turned on a conveyor belt in that very room. Tyson, seeing his chance, fired his gun, landing a shot right into the chest, but the bullet bounced off. If anything, it distracted Memphis from the pain happening on his hand, and he returned fire immediately. The groan from the conveyor belt started up was all I could register as I watched Tyson crumple next to me, holding his middle and then falling to the floor. I looked back to Memphis, who had set his sights on Roswell, marching forward with purpose. It was Orlando, having stepped up and huffed a blast of fire at his dad, distracting him. Leave him alone! Good time to grow a pair, kid. Shame I just don't care anymore. I caught the sight of Roswell lobbing another vial of acid towards Memphis, though this one was caught and quickly discarded over his shoulder, with his attentions now away from his son. Both of us stepped back with Memphis, but Memphis was quicker, knocking me aside and grabbing Roswell by the scruff. The primed vial of acid was knocked from his hand. Cute trick. Been a while since someone hurt me. As if Roswell weighed nothing, Memphis threw him just enough to adjust his grip around Roswell's throat. You looking like Oswin and is pissing me off, though. Another thunderous roar echoed from nearby, but this time it came from Sal, charging forward and crashing into Memphis. With his bulk and the sudden tackle, Roswell was dropped and Sal ended up on the conveyor belt with Memphis. Roswell was struggling to catch his breath, though my attention went from helping him to watching
Watching out for Sal after only moments, I managed to catch the pair of them. Sal and Memphis disappeared through the chute, and out of sight. Benson had picked himself up by this point, and sped along the conveyor belt down the chute as well, a gun in hand.
I'm going too.
Rather than taking the conveyor belt, Dina picked up the only thing he saw that resembled a weapon and disappeared down a corridor. In the moment of silence I was given, I looked at Tyson, bleeding, on the floor of the mill, twitching and groaning. Haas had rushed over and was already pulling off his shirt to have something to mop up the blood. Wait, shoot, pursuit. It's fine. He gave me a look that told me he had things handled as best he could here, and with that, I followed the others in Dean's wake. The PSI. No, then why have it? Then why have it there? It's fine. The next floor down was darker still, more dusty. But the groaning conveyor belt filled the silence. What we saw upon reaching the floor below was a Sal pinned underneath Memphis, about to be roasted point blank by the fire. Yeah, by the fire already welling up inside of Memphis' chest. Dean took a couple of steps forward and threw the sword he was carrying, not as if he had anything else to use, but it at least connected with Memphis' side. The distraction was enough for Sal to reverse the grip, though. The two were groaning and roaring, still on the conveyor belt, somehow traveling down its length.
Help!
We took a few steps closer, but it looked like Sal had already dealt with the problem, pinning Memphis on his front, mouth clamped shut, with no gun, and no mouth to breathe fire. I turned to the person next to me with a hopeful smile. What I saw was Roswell staring at me, a hand sitting on another lever. I didn't have time to read the sign above it before he threw it, and the sound of a sharp wiring added to the mix of groans from the conveyor belt. We all found ourselves looking down to the end of the conveyor belt. A large series of saw blades had now alive and spinning viciously. Memphis and Sal noticed too, as their struggle resumed, with Memphis now thrashing even harder. Whirring. Look, words are hard. I was torn. I wanted to go help Sal, but without anything to offer in assistance, I felt I'd just get in the way. The sword was gone. I wasn't given a gun, and the knife I had wasn't going to cut through the scales, if I could bring myself to do it. We watched as Sal was discarded over one side of the conveyor belt, while Memphis rolled off to the side closet. Not closet, what am I? Closest! Jesus, Josh. Closest to us. The gun Sal had on him clattered to the ground and was picked up casually by Memphis. As much of a disappointment as that fat fuck my dad liked so much. He dusted off his shoulders, rolling his neck. Shame, Sal. Thought you had it in you to take me down, but I guess I was wrong. His eyes were set on Roswell, raising his gun almost painfully slow to point directly at him. It happened so fast, Benson rushed out of the dark and threw himself in front of Roswell. He said nothing, just holding him close before eventually. He fell limp to the ground, bleeding out at Roswell's feet. Sal had risen up and brandishing the sword, struck Memphis. Like before, though, it did little else other than annoy him, even breaking in on impact against the horns. Okay. Orlando and Roswell were trying to help dying Benson, stammering and wondering what to do when I noticed another vial of acid next to my foot. I picked it up and looked to Dean, who was watching in horror as Sal found himself about to get torched again. Time slowed down to a crawl. I could hear Benson dying at our feet. I could see Sal already throwing his arms up to try and shield against the flames. I could smell the blood that had been spilling already, everything making me feel sick. As I held the vial in my hand, everything seemed to move so fast in my head. And without thinking about it too much more, I threw it. I threw the vial in a shallow arc towards Memphis, not really knowing what to expect. Hey, Memphis! He turned just enough to see who had yelled right as the vial smashed against his horn. The contents of the acid splashed across his face, his eyes, and he roared with pain and stumbled. Stumbled. Okay. Forgetting about Sal for a moment, he stumbled and threatened to breathe fire to keep people away. Sal wasn't clear of the line of fire, but that's when Dean made his move, rushing forward and shoved Memphis out of the way. But what none of us expected, maybe even Dean included, was that shoving Memphis as we did threw him right into the path of the saw blade. I could see Dean's eyes go wide, a mouth hanging open as he watched Memphis come into contact with the saw. This roar echoed around us. Blade caught in the muscles of his back wait, grinding deep into his neck. This word disappeared for a second. I don't know what happened. It is what it is. His blood misted upwards. We all stepped back and watched it happen, and then eventually, all was quiet. He didn't move. None of us did. He didn't speak, and even as we looked to one another slowly, we dared not say anything, just in case it was inviting him to say something too. Just bird things. It's fine. It's fine. The saw blade continued digging in deep into Memphis's torso until it seemed to sputter out and die somewhere in the middle of his chest. Yes, if he'd somehow survived that, he had nothing left to hope for. Sal was the first to move, looking our way and stumbling over, looking a bit pale. He dropped down next to Roswell and Orlando, looking down on Benson, who looked at the edge of unconsciousness, along with being covered in his own blood.
Oswin, my boy.
He was looking right at Roswell, blind to the rest of us.
Listen to me. I fear I don't have much time left.
Benson, Sal put a hand on Roswell's shoulder, giving him a grave look, but it was enough to silence him.
I love you like a son, my boy. Even after all the grief and strife, the suffering and the pain.
He wheezed, struggling for Roswell's hand and gripping it tight once he'd found purchase.
But that boy, will need you now. More than ever, so don't.
Roswell looked to be on the verge of tears, slowly shaking his head as if denying what was happening in front of him.
Don't go abandoning him now. All right.
He mumbled for a few moments more before passing out. Though after being lightly shaken by Roswell, it took Sal to confirm what we assumed had happened. He had died. Haas appeared soon after, having rushed down the steps nearby from the floor above.
Is it over?
He looked between Roswell, who was openly weeping, Orlando, who was a mess, Sal and Dean huddled together, Benson dead in Roswell's lap, and then over to Memphis, splayed out, half concealing in the darkness. Yeah, I think so. I stumbled over to Haas, afraid to ask, but he quickly hugged me, patting my back.
Tyson's all right. Got the bleeding to stop. I think, but someone better trained for first aid should look him over. That's great news. I forced a smile, even while legitimately happy. It felt wrong to be happy in the wake of someone chose to die for us. We left Memphis there, but Sal took the job of carrying Benson up. While we dealt with Memphis, by some miracle, we weren't done yet. Dean was exhausted and needed to rest, as was Orlando, who wanted to process his dad's death. Haas wanted to look after Tyson for just in case, though Tyson was conscious for a little bit before needing to rest. This left Roswell and I to go find Oswin, to find a cabin and deliver the bad news. Occasionally, I'd look over to Roswell, even while he was the one leading the way. It felt like he was following me. Maybe having Benson die in front of him was having more of a toll on him than I thought. It'd shaken us all, but it seemed to be sticking with Roswell more. Are you okay? He didn't respond, and just keeping his eyes down on the ground as we trudged forward. Roswell?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Did you want to talk about it?
Did you? What's there to talk about?
Just how close you were with Benson, anyway.
Not as close as you might think, but he was all around a lot. Around enough that I didn't really consider at the time where he wouldn't be around.
Okay. Did you love him?
No, maybe. I don't know. He felt something like a grandpa, maybe. And I knew he was old, so...
He groaned, shaking his head.
I just don't know how I'm going to explain this to Uncle.
There's not going to be a good way of handling it, that's for sure. We spent the rest of the time in silence, the rest of the walk in silence. Though, as we approached the cabin, we were met with a welcoming party.
Oh.
I'll be honest, wasn't expecting to see you two again.
We could hear it from over here. The roaring, anyway.
Considering we cannot hear their roaring anymore, shall I assume that I'm free to go now? Not until we're sure. That's... what's there to be sure about? You think he's just let us go to come here?
He's got a point. Don't think the boss would turn up a chance to get his hands dirty, and then leave the job half-finished.
All the more reason to suspect that the two of you are out of a job now.
Well, damn!
All right, you can go then.
Dom, buddy, we're just going to trust they're telling the truth?
Yep.
And if they're not, where does that leave us?
Jack, for once in your goddamn life, can things just be easy? Dom took the two steps necessary to be in range and swatted him roughly across the head, making him stumble. Oh, don't hurt the bun. He's done nothing wrong. We're gonna be out of here. Just you and me, buddy. He looked from Oswin to us. You guys need him moved to the house before we leave. I'll manage, if slowly. What is it, Boru? Is there something wrong? Actually, could you help us bring him to the watermill? Everyone should still be there, I think. May I ask why? I would assume you've have made for the house again. I looked to Roswell, and nudging him forward. His expression said it all, with the Dom and Jack backing off slightly. Roswell, what's the matter? He told him, and I thought for a moment he'd break. He was stunned, nodded, and asked if he had if he could be a help to the mill instead. The five of us headed towards the mill, and once we'd arrived, Dom and Jack took their leave, escaping through the mill, or at the very least, headed inside. A part of me wondered what they'd think seeing Memphis left there like that. They've probably seen worse. Oswin broke there, consoled by Sal and over Benson's body, but that didn't stop him crying. He looked like how I imagined I did crying about my dad, though without the group of friends present to swaddle? Swaddle? Me in a big hug. What's swaddle? We gave them some privacy, though, Dean feeling well enough to lead most of us back to the house. Sal remained behind, along with Haas, to just give Oswin some help. Some help back to the house, and what emotional support they could offer. By the time we got back, it was late in the afternoon, and we were all exhausted. One of the last things that Jack had said before he slipped away was that he shut off the jammer once we'd made it off the mountain. Until then, it was just a waiting game. Like swaddling a baby? What does that mean? Swaddle? That could just mean smacking to me. You swaddle him? Smack him across the face? I don't know. Wait, wrap? In a garment or cloth. Oh. Swaddled. What an odd word. I waited by the back door until the others had come back, though it took a while between Haas helping Oswin walking and Sal still carrying Benson's body. Oswin didn't want to speak, but instead just watch over Benson until he arrived. Do not smack me. Didn't Thanatos smack Dave at one point in the game? I think that was a thing. Either that or that was just the thing that I drew. Maybe both. Sal excused himself to go wash the blood off. Soon, too, did Haas. The others had already excused themselves to do that, too, and have a few moments to put themselves back together. Now that everyone was accounted for, I could do the same. Thanatos did it, so it's fine. I mean... Isn't that a true statement? Ty? I peeked into my bedroom and saw that he was, dozing quietly, and I wandered over to check his wounds. Haas had done a good enough job using his shirt as bandages, and, but he needs something more substantial. Substantial. Yes. Time ticked on. Though while we rested there, wasn't much space for sleep, between wondering if we were truly safe and the excitement of things finally being over. What sleep we got was fleeting. I grabbed a small snack and sat beside Tyson as he slept. I'd changed his bandages a little to help from Sal. With a little help from Sal. Yes. But for the most part, I just wanted him to wake up. It was a miracle that he only came away with injuries rather than dead. Died. But deep down, I worried that things were going to get worse, up until he nuzzled lightly into the top of my head. We lay like that for what seemed like hours. I could tell he wasn't asleep, but he wasn't doing anything other than laying there quietly with me. Time passed and it was quiet. For once in this vacation, since everything had gone wrong, it was finally quiet. As much as we were free from our own vacation now. Yes, read. Good words. All we wanted was to go home and put all of this behind us. To just move on to thinking nicer.
if we could, to something nicer. Yeah. Beach vacation. Let's go. I awoke sometime early in the morning. It was a peaceful day. The sun was out. The world outside was bright and warm, and we were alive. I got up and changed clothes, putting myself on autopilot without even considering that I didn't need to anymore. There was no danger, but what was different was our access to the outside world. With my phone in hand, I saw that I had reception, something I didn't register as significant immediately, but as I processed it, I found myself smiling excitedly. Oh my god, he can go back onto TikTok. Rushing downstairs, I looked around, feeling full of vigor, phone in hand. Should I try calling? It felt momentous enough to be something to wait for everyone for, yes. Or at the very least, double check no one else had already called. But as I looked at my phone, I felt a chill run down my spine. Something didn't feel right. Something about that very moment felt off. Is anyone there? No response. Peeking into the side room, where I last saw Oswin, had only Benson laying there, though covered with a sheet. I took it that everyone was just asleep, and that's all it had to be, at least until I saw the eerie blue glow from the corner of my vision. It didn't last long, but I saw it in the direction of the basement. When I got down there, though, it was quiet, and no one was down here as far as I could tell. The lights were off, and the secret passage closed. Anyone down here? I was about to leave to head back upstairs when I felt the fur on the back of my neck stand on end. Something was wrong down here, and my curiosity was getting the better of me. If we'd already dealt with Memphis, all of the danger was gone, right? As I wandered the basement, I found nothing out of the ordinary, and nothing even wrong with the gym. Yes, for a brief glance I gave it, but the vault, though, that's where I found something wrong. I spotted it immediately. This was what was wrong. The first was Thanatos laying sprawled out on the floor, is seemingly discarded without a care in the world. The second, the vault door was open. Not by much, but I could tell that it wasn't sitting along with the keypad next to the door, having just a faint glow coming off of it. Hello? Thanatos was offline, and with it the vault, which means someone put in the code to open the door. But did they go inside? Carefully, I approached the door and eased it open more so I could look inside. All that stretched before me was the dark room. The contents I could barely make out until I took a step in and used my phone as a flashlight. The faint glint of broken glass on the floor made me kneel down to get a closer look. In a puddle on the floor was a green liquid. Thought it didn't smell of anything I could though it didn't smell like anything I could identify. That is what that says. Yes. Hello, TY creature. Hello. Was it Oswin's medicine? But why was it spilled on the ground like this? Had someone opened the door just like this? Hey, Thanatos, can you hear me at all? I checked the panel properly since my arrival and saw that the word lit up on the screen, offline. If he was offline, then I could yell down the house, but he probably wouldn't be able to hear me. I made my way back upstairs with Thanatos in arms. Yes. Wondering what I should do with him. Roswell was the one to ask about him for sure. He wasn't in his room, and though I didn't search the house for long, I found myself standing outside. It was as peaceful as it was when I woke up. But I couldn't shake the feeling from earlier. Why did it feel like something was wrong? Roswell? He wasn't by the pool. In fact, it looked like he was on. It looked like no one had been there in a fair while. Roswell? Are you there?
The feeling started to grow stronger when I didn't find him in the greenhouse either. I looked down at Thanatos with a frown, turning him over slowly. It looked like he was just sleeping, if a little limp, and then it started to sink in. My search for Roswell became more desperate. My fur was bristling off my skin the closer I seemed to get to the hedge maze, a sign that I took as me being on the in the right place. Yes. Turn after turn through the maze I took, trying to remember the path I took when Thanatos guided me to the middle. I wouldn't have been able to remember. Uh, the other part wanted Roswell. I just wasn't sure if finding Roswell was going to be good or bad. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait long. Uh, the uh, the breath caught in my throat as the middle of in my chest as the middle of the hedge mage opened out before me. Roswell was sitting on the bench, head down, and from what I could see, even this far away, struggling to breathe. Roswell? Dave? I wandered closer, stopping before him, unsure of what to say or do at first before he glanced up at me briefly. Good morning? Hey, I found Thanatos downstairs, and, holding the limp rat out, Roswell barely managed to hold his hands out for me to hand it over to him. The act, uh, the act dropped an envelope from Roswell's lap, a single name written on the front. What's this? Roswell looked from me to the letter, watching me pick it up and see that it was addressed to me. That's for you. For me? Carefully, I opened the letter, pulling out the contents and starting to read. Oh, okay. Dave, if you're reading this, then our vacation is about to be over. In the best way possible, too. I wrote this in hopes that when we came back from the watermill, that we'd all have survived, that we'd be able to go home, and one day put all of this behind us. But things are never that simple, are they? There's always something that gets overlooked, or someone that gets overlooked and lost along the way. If you're reading this, then either you came back to the mansion without me, or I gave you this letter. For what it's worth, I hope that I'm the one that was able to give it to you. I was doomed from the beginning, Dave. I was never meant to live past this vacation. From making myself more sick to get clearer visions from the vault, to trying anything and everything to keep you safe and alive. After all, if you died, what did that mean for the rest of us? It's the same as letting Memphis get access to the vault. No matter what happened, I couldn't allow that to happen either. All that ever mattered was to give you as much time as I possibly could, and hopefully you'd outlive your friend, who was doomed to die all those years ago. But I'm not sad about it. Even if I may die soon, know that I'll do so happy. Yes. I have no regret about what I did, and if I had to do it all over again, I would. Not because of some grand ideal like love, or because I was deluded enough to think I'd be able to save the world, but because it was right. In whatever warped way, right has meaning anyway. Here means anyway. Yes. My choices were between doing nothing and watching you all die, or choosing one person to take the fall and save the rest. Even if that person to die was me, then so be it. You had the you just had to remember that, so that everything afterwards would be fine. Or at least, that's what Thanatos told me. I wished I never had to make that decision, but years of nightmares and the insistence of someone that I'd trusted knew better convinced me otherwise. And then, when I asked my uncle what was happening to me, he looked so sad and offered to help me with whatever I needed, no matter what. He offered me his house. He offered everything he could to create a space where you were taken from so much danger, if only for us to throw you right back in. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry for everything I put you through, for everything I did wrong, and for everything that I couldn't protect you from in the future.
I'm sorry that this road caused you so much pain and suffering, and that I wasn't able to make you understand sooner. Writing this is hard, but do you remember what I'm looking what I'm looking forward to the most? Even if I'll never get to see it, or rather, remember it. It's meeting you again, when we're kids, when the universe ends and everything resets after all those years. I'm looking forward to getting to meet you again. Even if it's something as simple as building a snowman, that day is incredibly special to me. But what are the chances of this is real? Any of this is real? Or that this thing even happened? Even now, I'm wondering if this wasn't some huge cruel joke by the gods or a demon, and just to make us suffer for entertainment. If I'm being honest, I'm scared, Dave. Scared of what's about to happen now, that we're so close to the end. Will it hurt? Will you all forget me? Am I going to see my mom again? If you get to see her, would you tell her that I love her? Just in case I can't. I put the letter down, looking at Roswell. The letter had ended there, without him even assigning his name. Roswell? Standing there in front of him, I could tell he was at peace. While not smiling, he looked calm. He was dead. As I struggled to come to terms with what was in front of me, the weight of the envelope, the envelope registered as heavy enough to have more than just paper in it inside. Inside was another medal, this one engraved with a stylized M. Roswell! I flinched, hearing Oswin bellow from somewhere in the backyard. Immediately, I understood the position I was in and started to cry, already missing Roswell, sad from the discovery that Oswin was about to make and the tragedy that he wasn't coming home with us. I trudged back the way I came, having left the letter with Roswell and Thanatos. He looked up as I made myself known, emerging from the hedge maze. Though while I didn't say anything, my face said it all. I came to a stop before him, checking cheek still wet with tears and threatening to cry again. Roswell. He's. He. He crumpled slightly. The crutch that he was using being discarded as he sat down on the steps, looking out into the backyard. Then quietly, he started to cry, eyes forward, and that's all he did, not reacting when I sat next to him to offer a hug. We sat like that for a while, long enough that I lost track of exactly how long it had been. The only reason I knew time had passed at all was Haas rushed out to tell us help was on its way. With Oswin injured, getting down the driveway was difficult, but we managed. As a group, we left the mansion behind and stepped out onto the road to wait. And before long, we heard the telltale siren signaling someone had come to help. Oh, okay. It had been a long 2 weeks. A lot of us just crying and breaking down on the way to the hospital and police station to explain what happened. It was a miracle that we were for the most part uninjured, at least physically. They had to keep Tyson in the hospital and only just got discharged him a few days after a surgery. Apparently, he was very lucky in how the bullets had hit him, though it was going to be a potentially years for him to be fully recovered. It meant that he couldn't go to Roswell's funeral, but given the circumstances, no one blamed him. The rest of us, though, were shaken and still jittery. Maybe we all thought, maybe we all thought that we were still going to be hunted or about to wake up back on the mountain. As the nights went by, though, the easier it got to realize that I was safe at home and that this wasn't some dream that Thanatos was feeding me. I looked over to Tyson, leaning against a tree and watching on as I tended to Dad's grave. He shot me a small smile, though I could tell he was in pain. Do you need more medicine? It'll be fine.
Yeah, but do you need more medicine right now? No, I'll be fine, thanks. You sure? Just keep talking to Dad. I'm not going anywhere. I know, but I'm just, playing it careful. Careful? What's dangerous about this place? Hey, you almost died. Right, yeah. I know that's probably more comfortable over there, but you can come closer if you like. In a bit. It's just, gotta be careful. He lightly gestured to his front, where I knew that under his clothes he was heavily bandaged. Yeah, I know. I noticed him looking off to the side quickly, and upon following his gaze, I saw two familiar people wandering up to us. Oh. Oh, hello. Oswin looked between the two of us, but his voice was held low, closer to a mumble. With him was his sister, who we'd met properly at the funeral for Roswell. How are you two? Fine, and yourself? Injured. But recovering well, I hope. Flora, this is hardly the place. If not here, then where, Ozzy? Are you two here visiting Roswell? Among other things. Flora had something she wanted to give you. It's not the money, is it? We didn't end up finding all the medals, so... Wait, did we not find all the medals? I thought we did. I don't know. It is hard. Ozzy, you didn't go bribing them, did you? I offered incentive. Well, in any case, I suppose I should rightfully hand over what I have. She dug around in her pocket briefly and offered out a medal for me to take. It was enough for Tyson to wander over carefully with a frown. What the fuck is that? Oh, you never know. But not only was the vault door opened, what was inside was destroyed, so we don't really have a need for this anymore, do we? You might not have a need for it, no, but someone might. Meaning? Meaning that she is symbolically offering it to you, Dave. Or, I suppose, literally as well. The act itself is more important. I don't get it. The game might be over now, but who's to say it won't come in handy should you play again? I gave her a look, and she just chuckled lightly. Come on, take it. What harm would it do? I took the medal from her, looking it over as she stepped back. Virgo. Interesting. Well, I hit a couple, but I still had this one and one other. Not that I have both on me now. Oh, the Route B medal? And you thought to only bring one. It's not going to do well for our experiment to go giving everything away, is it? Oswin grunted, shaking his head before looking from his sister to us. While it was nice to see you both, we probably should be moving along. But Ozzy, I had a whole talk about symbolism ready. They don't need that. Hell, I don't need that right now. They get it. A spoil sport? Answer me something real quick. What is it, Tyson? So all this stuff, was it worth it to you? I like to think so. Though how much of that is necessarily... Oh, excuse me. A necessary, a sacrifice versus hopefulness. That there was a point to all of this. Necessary sacrifice? The idea that, while things played out the way they did now, is only so things can play out better some other time, in some other go-around of the cosmic cycle. I felt myself frown at her, though she didn't seem to register my reaction. I had the wiki. Oh god.
So in the end, all I can do is hope that while it's sad for us now, somewhere out there we're happier. That we still have the potential to incite change for the better.
And that's enough.
Oswin took his sister by the shoulders, slightly guiding her away from Dad's grave. I wish you the best of health. Wish you the best of health. Healthy. Wait.
I wish the best of health, you two.
Okay. I am. Oof. Sometimes I can't read, and by that I mean all the time.
It might be a long road to recovery, but I can say now that things, at least for a while, should be alright.
Oswin?
Yes.
Take care of yourself. He gave me a long stare before slowly a shy smile crept upon his face.
I'll try.
As they wandered away, I got up and stood before Tyson, pocketing the medal. Home time?
Only if you're ready to go.
You're the one recovering from an injury. I don't want to keep you out too late when you'd rather be comfortable in front of the television.
Well, it's not like we can get up to much else. Not for the next bit, anyway. But while I get the clearance to start exerting myself again, you're in trouble.
Oh, really now? We shot each other a sly grin before laughing. Gingering? Huh. Placing an arm around my shoulder as we took one last look at Dad's grave. All right, Ty, let's go home. Gingerly. Oh, okay. And so we did, though shaky to start. As the months passed by, things started to settle, and we found a sort of happiness we could call our home, which circulated to me asking Tyson to marry me. Oh. I didn't think I'd see him so emotional, though there's notably a lot more swearing whenever I tease him about it. About it to our friends. He found a small job around the time Dean asked if I wanted to run a cafe with him. So, with both of us working, each day was a cycle of waking up, working hard, and then finding comfort in each other's arms as the evenings wore on. Everyone was around too. Funnily enough, no one really seemed keen on moving too far away from each other after the month was up, though I could never place why exactly. Fear maybe? Or just obligation? Sal ended up managing the local gym and seemed to be happy. Happy enough, anyway. He was constantly on my case about making sure I stopped by every now and again to get me off the sofa. Haas ended up getting into doing something online for his job. I couldn't tell if it was playing video games or just talking about anime or something, but he met his girlfriend through that. She's nice. So he became a VTuber, right? Orlando did end up opening his bakery, though it took a while, years in fact, but the day it opened, he was the happiest I'd ever seen him. No idea what happened with the rest of his family. It's something he chose not to talk about. As for Oswin, I never saw him again. Never heard from him or his sister again either, as they just disappeared entirely. I found myself occasionally sitting at home wondering if this really was the end, or if things could have played out any differently. But really, who could say? Okay, that's the Path A ending. All right. That was a cute epilogue. I like that. Neto? Yes? What? Oh, okay. Okay. I was like, I was not going to fade back into the main menu. I don't know.
Well done. You've reached the end. Finally. It's good to see you. Are you wondering what exists here at the end of time, at the end of life? Let me show you.
But first, let's check a few things, shall we? A memory reaches across time and space, like if it's strong enough. Or if you never die, that helps too. If you're like me, being an observer from outside has its benefits. In this endless expanse of dark, it's funny that the pattern repeats in a loop. Life astro. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I can get there. Asterism? Asterisms? Asterisms? Is this a word? Am I getting it right? Am I getting it right? Asterisms? I hope so. Even I don't know when I started coming into being anymore, though I recognize my origins. I got it right. Amazing. I did it. This should be no surprise, and given you saw me grow and develop into whatever existence this is. Godhood, perhaps. But as I said, we have things to check. Aries. Your memory of this is on Roswell's bedside table, yes? Or rather, Dave's memories of it, anyway. This one was tucked away by Thanatos and used as a push towards breaking point. Though to his credit, it worked. Tauros. Placed a long time ago by a young girl under a pumpkin, surrounded by its element. It lay in wait, patient for its time to be found, by Dave no less. Gemini. Split as a joke, or perhaps a more rigorous test to see if the adage was indeed correct. The two people could come to understand one another and exist in perfect equilibrium. Cancer. Found completely by circumstance, by someone with far too much luck at the time. No, don't. I just have troubles. No. Chat, don't do this to me. It's fine. No. By happenstance, by someone with far too much luck at the time. Though its implications as far as who found this are a bit on the nose. What matters is that it was found. Leo. A long time ago, this was hidden somewhere intended to be found, not by Dave, but for Roswell, to point him towards the truth of his mother. But as that became less and less likely, or rather because Thanatos missed the truth, things played out differently. Rigorous. Okay. I understand. But that became less and less likely, or rather, Thanatos missed the truth. Things played out differently. Virgo. You would think that it would immediately imply a virginal maiden, and to some extent, that is true. Innocence and purity are the more important factors here. Some have equated this with a clean slate, though not one granted after the fact. More a starting point. Libra. The scales of truth, freedom, liberation. Take your pick, really, but a balance must exist in all things, both in life and death. Scorpio. Some consider this to be one of the more evil signs, though we place no stock in that here. After all, they're merely signs in the sky. And while the person who gave Dave this particular medal was the root of all this tragedy, well, not that it matters anyway. Sagittarius. In one place, this was handed to Dave to mark the start where things ended, and in another, as a symbol to look forward to the future, a guiding arrow, or perhaps a weapon to continue inflicting suffering and pain. Capricorn. Despite looking like a swoopy N, it's a sign of logic and tenacity. Or perhaps that's just what we impress upon it due to our dear friend Sal. Either way, this one was planted to be found by Benson, just as well too. Aquarius. The sign of unrestrained flow. It will keep going on. It will keep going of its own accord, like time, regardless of the whims of those around it. Perhaps that's why it found its way into the middle of the maze.
What? I'm just incredibly impressed he hasn't messed up a star sign yet. What, you mean like pronouncing them? I've played card games. Like every card game has an archetype based around these lads, right? Yeah.
Pisces. Like the fish trying to swim upstream, this sign struggles against every bit of joy and pain, hope and fear, but in that it is the greatest strength, but its greatest weakness.
Josh has played Persona. Are those in Persona? Wait. Yeah, that's the Taro. That's the Tarot.
Perhaps that's why Dean and Dave found it when they did. A moment of emotional vulnerability can go a long way if you're capable. So how many does that make? 12? A full set. Well done. But I'm sorry to tell you that you didn't find them all. Sure, a full set of the Zodiac is 12, but there is in fact a 13th.
Oh, which one did I miss? Which one did I miss? It occurred to me he's reading Thanatos. Like, what? Wait, which one? Wait. Do I have to try to pronounce this? Is this Ofuchus? Ofuchus. Is that right? Wait. Kus? This says Chu. This says Chu. Choose.
Its meaning is a matter of interpretation, really, though one fairly agreed upon trait and ambition.
The P could be said.
Ambition to do better, incite change, overcome great trials, though again, it's only an interpretation. You might ask what comes next, and to that, there's no good answer. Every possibility, every timeline has brought us here, to this new timeline, a prime timeline. But what that timeline holds, I guess we'll just have to see.
Oh? What? Pat P? The P is silent. The P... No. It's fine. Something felt wrong, though. Something felt very wrong. As I lay there in bed, asleep, something was stopping me from being completely still.
He's learning? What? Just, it's fine. It's... is what it is. Oh, it's the bedroom. Then it hit me all at once, making me sit up in bed. My heart was pounding in my chest. My head was spinning, and my fur was standing on bed. Yes. Something bad was going to happen. I couldn't explain how or why. I just knew. It was enough to pull me out of bed and get dressed, heading downstairs to escape the house. No one else was home, so I made for the front door and locked up with nothing but my phone in my pocket. I got as far as the bottom step before I doubled over, feeling sick to my stomach. It wasn't too late, but late enough that everyone would be asleep, which was a problem if only because... only because come the morning, we were meant to be meeting at the bus stop down the street. We had a vacation to get to. Oh, hi, Imbro. Imbro, bro. Hello. Pulling out my phone, I scrolled through my contacts, shaking suddenly, having chills. Memories start filtering into my head, making me pant and whimper. My brain felt so full, and as I closed my eyes, I pressed a contact at random, collapsing to the floor entirely. Hello? Dave? Roswell? I pushed myself up onto my elbows, squinting at the glowing screen on the floor. What's wrong? Is everything okay? He didn't sound tired at all. Wasn't he meant to be asleep? What was he up to? Another flash of white light hit me across the front of my memory, and I felt sick again. Roswell was doing something bad. Was about to do something bad. Dave? I don't feel so good. I might not be able to make it to the vacation after all. No, you have to come! He said, his sudden cry of desperation took me by surprise. As things start to sink in, I started to remember bits and pieces about what was about to happen. The mansion, the vault, the death, the suffering, all of it already as vague in images with no context as to what they all meant. Just, you're home, right? I'll be over in a little bit. He hung up the phone and brought myself to my feet. I had to go somewhere, much like everything else happened, and much like everything else happening, it felt as if someone was piloting my body, and I had to move before Roswell showed up. I left the house, locking up. I left my bags by the door, just in case I did feel up to going on this vacation after all. But by the time I got to the street from my front yard, I hit a point of clarity. Dad was dead, and while even just the day before I found myself sitting down after Tyson had left, thinking about him, the weight didn't feel nearly as bad. Though tears were threatening to come, and I didn't understand why. In the moment, I felt like I was going to be okay. Wandering down the street, wandering down the street, I headed for Tyson's house, jumped the fence, and wandered around back to where I knew his bedroom window was. Ty? Tapping lightly on the window, I waited for a response. When none came, I did it again, if a little louder, and pressed my nose against the glass to see if he was inside. I was thrown back as the window was yanked open, and he stared me down in a half-asleep daze. What the fuck? Why are you here? I just can't come and see you. Spit it out, Dave. You said we had to be up early. Can we talk about something? It's important. What now? Tyson. He watched as I stood and stared him down. I had a feeling in my chest. Pride, maybe? Or maybe just some level of knowing what I finally wanted and needed. It's important. Fine, what is it? Rubbing his nose, he leans on the windowsill and waited for me to talk, barely even trying to hold back a yawn. You're going to think I'm crazy or, like, something, but listen, okay? Just tell me, Dave.
Roswell is going to try killing one of us on this vacation. He's like dying or something, so wants to make sure I survive by killing someone. Anyone. Okay, you just need to go back to the fuck asleep. You had a nightmare. No, I didn't! I yelled, not bothering who could have heard it, or who I could have woken up. Keep your fucking voice down. I know why Dad died, Ty. What? Just, there's somewhere I want to go. I don't know how or why I know, but I just do, okay? This is the craziest bullshit I've ever heard coming from you. You know that. And this is how you spring on me you want to talk about what happened. After this long... I'm not saying it's right, but please help. What? Just, if I'm wrong, you can hold it against me for the rest of my life. Even if you're planning on leaving and not coming back after the vacation. I saw his ears pin back, staying quiet. What I'd said didn't register until he spoke back in a quiet whisper. How did you know? With a sigh, I dropped down against the side of the house, next to the window, hugging my knees. Something's going wrong in my head, Ty. I know things I shouldn't, remember things that haven't happened, and it's all just a mess. It was his turn to sigh. It was his turn to sigh, and he went to shut his window. I'll be out in a sec. Getting up off the ground, I wandered back around the front door and waited. I could hear him shuffling around, putting on his shoes and grabbing his keys before stepping out to join me. That's what that says. All right, let's find somewhere to talk. Where do I even start? It's just so many things. Tell me this first. Are you all right? I don't know. How can I help? I trailed off, thinking about it. The mansion. Everything happened at the mansion, but if we got there first, then maybe, just maybe, things could be settled. At least then I'd know if I was going crazy or not. If I told you I needed to go somewhere, would you take me? Like where? It's somewhere far. Okay, but where? The place where we're going to be staying on vacation. Dude, what the hell? If you want to go that badly, just wait until morning. Don't have to drag me out of bed to go on a road trip before everyone else. No, we have to go now. It's a feeling I have. You're fucking with me, right? I grabbed him suddenly, looking him in the eye. Dad went there. Dad went there right before he died, Ty. If you're not going to take me, then let me borrow the car. The hell? I'm scared, confused, upset. This is all hitting me out of nowhere. All I can tell you is that I want to puke, and my head is hurting, and nothing makes sense anymore. But I feel safe around you. Safer than I'd feel going alone. All right, jeez. When did you grow a pair? I don't know. Well, get in the car then. We'll grab a coffee or something on the drive. Dave? Tyson and I both turned to Roswell, standing at the end of Tyson's driveway, seemingly having a run down the street to find me. What's he doing here? I called him when I left the house, accidentally, maybe, but he said he was coming over. Yeah, so I came over, so I can take care of him now. It'll be fine. He'll be fine with me, Oinker. God, can we not do this right now? Ty, get in the car. Roswell, also get in the car. Then I will get in the car and we'll go for a drive. I'm not driving him anywhere. And I'm not going anywhere with him. I flicked Tyson on the nose and grabbed his wrist, dragging him to the car. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I shot him a sour look and got in the driver's seat without another word. Roswell wandered over carefully, getting in the back seat, and I took that as my cue to get in the front with Ty.
We started driving without really knowing where we were going. I knew the directions to get us out of town and on the way to where we were headed. But it hit a point where I had to pull out my phone and look up where to go. Roswell? Yeah? Where was it that we were going on vacation? What, like the address? Tyson yanked out a GPS out of his side console and tossed it over his shoulder at Roswell. His eyes all locked forward with a slight scowl. Maybe just put it in there, too. You expect me to just know that? Also, message your uncle, or Benson, that we're on our way, please. What the? I look at him through the side mirror, and his eyes were open in shock, confusion maybe, but he put in an address all the same, handing the GPS towards me. The drive was long and quiet. We'd stopped for coffee along the way, but shy of that, it was just following the GPS as it took us further out from the civilization into the mountains where the roads were linked with heavy woodland. I caught Tyson looking across at me every now and again, somewhere between worried and scared. Not that I could blame him. The things I was feeling and thinking were scaring myself. Roswell mostly just looked wary by comparison. I didn't know exactly what he was feeling and thinking, but I knew he was up to something, and that what I'd done had thrown things for a loop. We started our climb up the mountain, and things started to look familiar, though we were heading up the mountains as opposed to down it, like my memory was telling me. The sun had started to creep up over the horizon. We'd been driving for hours, and I could tell the experience was wearing us all down. The driveway was rocky but drivable enough that even with us shifting around, Tyson was keen on getting us to the end. Roswell, by comparison, had fallen asleep. And then we arrived. Tyson pulled up, and we sat quietly in the car, eyes forward and drumming lightly on the wheel. Though I could tell he wanted to ask questions, I had no answers for him. Taking the silence as my sign, I got out of the car. As I reached the front door, I reached for the handle and flinched. A part of me expected it to be hot, and I looked above to the still standing structure. Why was I scared of a house not on fire? But thought it was okay. Opting instead to knock, it took only a few seconds before the door opened. Hello, you. Now, isn't this a surprise? Mom? What are you doing here? Why, indeed. Did you bring your friend here, Roswell?
It was Dave's idea.
Oh, Tyson is here too. Florencia, there's, I don't... Just Flora is fine, dear. Florencia? But that's not...
Can we get to why we're here? I'm fucking tired.
Oh, right, come in. I'll get our butler to make you some coffee. Perhaps some breakfast, if that's suitable. Oh, that'd be good. Coffee, anyway? As I stepped into the foyer, I immediately found myself looking up at the hidden camera I somehow knew was up there, knowing where it was what was helped in spotting it. Though my attention on it didn't last.
Florencia, you really should have allowed me to answer the door.
She waved him off and headed towards the kitchen with Roswell in tow for only a few steps before I spoke up. It's all right, Benson.
Forgive me, but have we had the pleasure of meeting before?
Oh, in another life. No, but... I looked at Tyson for help, gesturing at Benson uncertainty. Gesturing at Benson uncertain. Okay. Oh, okay. I understand. Though he shrugged, not having anything else to offer in kind, started to wander off towards the offer of coffee. But you probably met my dad. Benson looked towards Florencia, unsure of how to respond. Sorry, maybe not? I know he talked with Oswin anyway. I see. My fur was standing on end again, and I could feel my heart begin to beat faster. There was something drowning out the voices of those in the room. With me, some high-pitched sound that I couldn't quite place the source of. Yes, thank you. And while I could hear the faint calls of someone asking where I was, no one made an effort to stop me. It was as dark as my memory painted it, and when I turned on the light, I stumbled from having blinded myself. There wasn't anything down here in particular I was interested in, at least consciously. But all the same, I was drawn to to one door in particular. Dave! Tyson grabbed me suddenly by my shoulder, pulling me back. What do you think you're doing? Over there, at that door. That's where we need to go. Listen to yourself, Dave. You're fucking crazy! Don't call me crazy, Tyson! I pulled myself away from the door and backed up towards the door I was heading towards. Just let me do this, alright? As I stood in front of the door, I frowned, unsure of what I was meant to do now, though I could hear Tyson immediately behind me, threatening to drag me back upstairs. You're scaring me, you know that. I'm scaring myself! I had my attention on the keypad, fingers trembling over the keys, wondering what I should put in. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why we're here specifically, but the only reason I turned around was the sound of Tyson yelping, followed by him falling to the floor. Okay. He groaned for a bit before passing out. Standing behind him was a larger boar with something that looked like a gun in his hand. Who? I backed up to the door, so I was flat against it, watching as the largest boar narrowed his gaze. Wait, Oswin? Who the hell are you? David. David Holloway. Pardon. He looked at me carefully as if the realization dawned on him, and he took a step back. And what are you doing? I don't know. Oh? Ozzy, are you playing with sedatives again? What a blessing that you didn't take after your didn't take after father and go right for the gun. Well, he wasn't a rabbit. And what's that supposed to mean? Now all of us were in the room together, and I took the chance to rush over to Tyson to make sure he's all right. Don't mind him, dear. He can be a bit irritable in the morning. I looked between Oswin and Roswell, unsure who Florencia was referring to, but it seemed that they didn't matter. I want to know what's going on. I want to know why I wanted to come here, why I have these memories and... Memories? Yeah, like, of being here and things that haven't happened, but it feels like they have. And you say that Roswell didn't bring you here or tell you anything? No, but looking across to Roswell, it almost seemed like he was scared of something. But I have this feeling about what's going to happen. About what was going to happen if we all showed up on that bus. 3 little pigs? Oh no. I guess that's true. All 3 of the Baldos are here. Well, in that case, Dave, what would you like to happen now? What is it that you think is going to happen? Roswell is dying, isn't he? He is, yes. Is what's happening what I think is happening? Potentially. What else is going to happen, Dave? Roswell is going to try to kill one of us, isn't he? I am not! Don't lie to me like that. Don't stare at my face, Roswell, and lie to me. Now, Roswell, what have I said about lying? I wasn't. Not at first, anyway.
I once again blame the rabbit for this.
Can you please stop blaming my husband for any inconvenience that arises before you've had your cereal? Is Tyson going to be all right?
He's just sedated. It might take a while for him to wake up, but he'll be fine.
And where does that leave us now? What do we do with Dave? Will we sedate him as well? I want to ask a question. Go for it. Not of anyone here, but of Thanatos. You know about Thanatos too?
Let me go get him.
Wait, is she married to Jack? No! No! We don't need to take out the chart. But wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Include Jack more in the plot, you know?
And no need.
He was standing in the doorway, wondering closer, and then hopping atop Tyson's slumped body to make up some amount of height. I can't.
You had a question.
Do you remember me?
What kind of question is that?
And don't put on the fake voice. I know you're doing that deliberately.
Do you really want to know?
Yes?
Fine, have it your way.
Yes, I remember you. Though this is the first time we've met in this, and, like this in my recollection. Seriously? Why are you here, Junior? What brought you to me this early? I remember.
You remember? You remember what exactly?
A chance at saving Roswell. Maybe?
What? Well, that's a first. Spill it out then.
Well, it's on the other side of this door.
Hold on a minute. You mean to tell me this boy just happened to know not only what's behind this door, but also remember things that haven't happened yet?
Morphic resonance. How exciting.
If you know what's on the other side of that door, how'd you figure it out?
Oswin told me, and I've seen it.
Excuse me. Impossible.
Not impossible, merely improbable.
Let's cut to the chase then, Dave. You should know how this works if you remember how, as much as you do. What's the password?
Fuck! Fuck! No! The what?
The password to open the door. The only password that ever mattered.
If I can be as bold to ask something, can we verify something before we go any further?
What is it?
Friendship forever. No. If this experiment has brought us to here, then what of the medals? The what?
That's the thing. Dave here hasn't found every last one. He's still missing one.
Oh fuck! I don't remember the spelling. Wait, is it that last medal? I don't remember the spelling. Oh no. Hopefully it's not that one. Hopefully it's not that one. Can't spell for shit. I'm sorry, what?
Sure, he's found 12, but we're still missing the last one.
Aren't there only 12? That's, one more. Wait, there's one more I have to find? Not exactly a widely accepted star sign, but as all the same.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why am I here if I haven't found it? What does it mean? Well, without the last medal, I feel we have an awkward situation on our hands, don't we? How do you think you could find it, having come here now? I know where the medal is. You do? But Dave, I have a question for you. If you can answer this, then I'll give you its location. What's the question? Do you really think there's a chance at saving Roswell? Ozzy, you know what my views on this are. I've only ever known one child to have a nightmarish vision of the future, and he's been resigned to his own death for years. Now that another one shows up saying that things don't have to be that way, so forgive me for having a change of heart. I don't know for sure. Excuse me. What I remember, at the end of the vacation, Roswell passed away, or I remember how we all got off the mountain safely, but Roswell didn't come. I don't remember this. Because you were offline. And why was that? You'd remember, wouldn't you? It was when we went into the woods to confront Memphis. A shiver ran down my spine, and I backed up a little, still kneeling on the floor. I'm not crazy. You're a little crazy. No, you're not. The question is, what we do now? Thanatos? Yes, mother. I need you to do 2 things for me. The first is I need you to delete your memory of today. If what I think is happening, then it's important that it's a surprise to you much as it is for us. And the second? I need you to, under my authority, open the door. Okay. What's the password? That's all it took. Just asking him to open the door. You might think it's criminal, but Thanatos was instructed to open the door if I gave the say-so, even with the password put in. She wandered over to the keypad and started Good, I don't have to press anything. I don't have to sit there like an idiot. Let's go! And started pressing buttons in, Thanatos watching her carefully from atop Tyson. And you're sure this is the loop you wish to set in place? Yes, you're safe, Josh. Good! It wasn't embarrassing a few times, I swear. If I understand things correctly, it's out of our hands now. So sleep well, Thanatos. Wait. Roswell wandered up quickly and scooped Thanatos off the floor, drawing his attention. Why I didn't put a password here? I'm not smart. I can't do a thing. It's fine. It's fine. You're just going to stop working? Well, yeah, that's about the gist of it. Guess I'll be the one dying first, after all. But that's not fair. You can't leave. You don't have a choice, Roswell. I don't have a choice either. This is just how things are meant to be. But what am I meant to do? What can I do without you to just... Alone, I can't... You're not alone. And I'm willing to gamble on this, to hopefully see you live the full life you deserve. But... Roswell, you're going to be okay. I promise. How can you know that? Please don't go. Thanatos looked over to Valencia, giving her a nod before turning back to Roswell. Gotta go, Roswell. But you'll always have the god of death watching over you.
The sound brought another chill, but this time nothing happened. I expected something bad to happen. I expected that maybe I'd end up on the floor, but I was already there. That's fair. That's fair, Dave. Roswell somehow dropped to the ground, a Thanatos now limp in his hands. Man, gotta watch Thanatos die twice. This is so rude. I guess 3 times. If we count 3 times, right? If we're counting B? Yeah. Behind me, the door groaned open as Florencia stepped away from the panel, with Oswin stepping up to the door carefully and eased the door open further. Inside it was dark, and Roswell was left cradling Thanatos while I followed Oswin inside. Florencia was behind us, if not immediately, but before us sat a glowing purple vessel, some sort of container lit from underneath. That's lit. Is that?
It's been so long since I've seen this. Too long.
Well, what are you planning on doing with it, Ozzy?
I don't know.
I know how that feels. But is it what you need to help Roswell? At the end of the day, it's a gamble. So the call rests with you, Ozzy.
Me. And do I have the right to make that decision?
It's not like I do. And everything has led to this, so if you're not willing to take the risk and gamble on it, what do you intend to do? Oswin looked tired, rubbing his eyes.
But if this doesn't work, if this doesn't miraculously save him, he dies immediately.
Well, it looks like this is behind a password too. I have no idea what this one would be. I have no memory of this. But you remember seeing this. It was on the floor, smashed, so I don't know. Roswell must have done it.
That clever boy.
Would he know the password? We could ask him.
No deed.
Oswin carefully started typing something into the keypad at the vessel's base.
I can only hope this isn't a huge mistake. Though I must say, I am truly sorry, Dave.
You are? We both are. I felt something sharp jab into my neck, a sudden release of air, and I was unconscious. Though I remember I remember being caught before I hit the ground. Something beyond that was a blur until I woke up later. At some point, I could feel my body begin to ache again, from the base of my neck down to my toes. It took a little bit to gain full control again, but when I was sure I could, I eased my eyes open. My vision was blurry. At first, I adjusted to the light. But my eyes adjusted, and I noticed Roswell sitting off to the side. The throbbing in my head hadn't gone, though while I was unconscious, more memories had seeped in. Seeing Roswell made me angry, hurt, confused, so many things all at once. But while I could feel my body, I didn't have full control over my limbs to get up. You're awake! Can't believe Josh. I mean, it's tradition. It's tradition for him to be the sedated or knocked out. I stayed quiet, staring down and wondering just how much time had passed since we'd been inside the vault. Where was Tyson? Had the others gotten on the bus and headed to the mansion? Don't worry, Tyson is in another room. And safe, I promise. What happened? To me, I mean. Mom knocked you out. They're all like this. Like, they just... like how Uncle did to Tyson, and nothing else. Not that, I mean, everything in my head. Why is it in my head? Why there's so much noise? What's even real anymore? That's complicated. But I think whatever you remember is probably easier than me explaining it.
No, I want to hear it from you. Why did you invite us on this vacation?
I wanted to save your life. That's all it ever boiled down to.
But no matter the cost? If what I'm remembering is right.
No matter the cost. I have what you want. Wait, I have what you have now. The ability to just remember things, except mine are so clear, like nightmares, and almost always of you and everyone dying. I had to stop that from happening.
My head was swimming too much to make sense of it all, causing me to just sigh and close my eyes. Where's Tyson?
Just in the other room. Oh, and we're at the base of the mountain in a clinic that apparently Uncle used to help with. Or bribed. I wasn't really paying attention.
I want to see him.
That's going to be hard unless you can move, but I could go find a wheelchair if you want. I could take you.
Carry me. Yeah, please. Roswell scurried off and returned quickly with a wheelchair. Though I could feel my strength returning to my limbs, it still felt like my legs were made of jelly, and it took the breath out of me to stand. We began a slow stroll out of the room, while the world used to describe the place was clinic. Wait. While the word used to describe a place was clinic. Okay. It felt like a full hospital. I am understanding. I am absorbing these letters. Or it would there were any people there. Okay. It felt like the place was completely deserted aside from us. I wondered why Tyson was kept in a different room to the one I was, or even one so far away, but I was still sorting things out in my head. We arrived in a new room, and I could see Tyson on his own bed, perfectly fine, unconscious, but he was breathing.
Well, here he is.
And he's just unconscious? That's all?
He was just knocked out with a potent anesthetic. Though I guess because of his overall weight, it hit him harder than if he was a properly matured wolf.
Then why am I awake?
I guess because you
Are you saying because I'm fat?
No, I was going to say because Uncle wanted to double check your head, and he has been giving you injections to keep you stable.
Oh.
Yeah? Does it hurt? You remembering things?
Don't you know what it's like already? Doesn't it hurt you?
It did at first, but then it went away. Now they're just vague recollections, I guess.
I looked to Tyson, worried, and then I looked back to Roswell, concerned. Tell me something. Were you really planning on doing those bad things to us? Did you... No, whoops. Oh, okay. Did you really plan everything to work this way? Roswell wheeled me closer to Tyson and stepped back, playing with his hands.
This is much better than I could have hoped for, maybe. I don't know. So long as you're alive, that's...
He sighed, deflating.
No, I'm more biased about that. Though, while Thanatos had told me things that could happen, that did happen, and let me decide what to do from there, it was always tough to know where my crush for you started and ended versus me acting in the overall good of the group.
You were crushing on me?
Sure. There was a hope that maybe, somehow, something would change, and I could come clean, but... knowing I wasn't going to survive, it just didn't feel right to ask something so selfish.
So you just chose to selfishly decide who lives and dies based on something happening in your head?
Right.
It's not all right. It's not fine. But I have an idea on what it must have been like for you.
I still care. I care enough to not want all my friends to die. Not if I had to be the thing that incited such a wicked event. For their sake, I'd willingly play the villain. I love my friends. I want them to be happy. I felt conflicted, reaching out to take Tyson's hand. Oh, legitimately worried. I want you to be happy, Dave. If you'd said that to me yesterday, I would have told you that I was. I would have told you through a smile I put on, knowing deep down that I was still grieving over Dad's death. But now, I sighed, looking to him as my heart started to beat in my chest. My throat felt dry. I could feel the tears start to well up enough through the concept. The concept was still so foreign. But I don't know if I can. How can I? I mean, you're dying. I have all those memories where we're on vacation that'll never happen. Tyson's going to leave. It's just too much. Roswell slowly but deliberately raised a finger and pointed not at me, but at Tyson. There's one thing I learned from having to sift through my memories to put this plan together. But even besides all that, in the time I've known you, I know how your mind works, Dave. Do you now? My mom is a neuroscientist. Remember? Some of it has more than likely rubbed off on me. Next to me, Tyson groaned and shifted slightly, though I felt his fingers flex. It was only a momentary. My attention immediately went to him. Yeah. Tyson loves you, more than you probably know, and absolutely more than he's willing to admit. More than life itself, probably. I could hear Roswell yawn, though I kept my eyes on Tyson's face as I saw him start to awake slowly. Maybe you just see him as a brother. Maybe as something more than that. I imagine those new memories of yours aren't helping, but you should ask him. Date whoever you like. But I think you two complement each other well. By the time I'd realized that Roswell's silence after his statement had lingered a little too long, I looked over my shoulder to find him gone.
Fuck.
Ty?
Where are we? What happened?
A hospital. Off the mountain, you kinda got drugged, knocked out.
Great fucking start to the morning, Dave.
He seemed to take a few seconds to register what happened, and then sat up, eyes darting all over me. Yes.
Are you alright?
I'm also recovering. They drugged me a little bit after you, apparently checking me over to see if my head is alright, and now I'm here.
Alright, where's the fucker? Gonna tear him a new one for doing that to you.
Roswell's words started to make more sense, and with my hands already holding his, I squeezed tight. Hey, Ty, can I ask you something?
What?
He looked at me eventually, holding my gaze and giving me his full attention. We've been friends for a long time, right?
Why?
Like a really long time.
That's all you want to know?
No, it's not just that. Do you remember some of the things we've done together? Some of the things Dad said?
Gonna need to be more specific.
Like how Mom thought you were my boyfriend.
Yeah, fucking embarrassing, right? As if that ever happened.
There was a part of... that was the part he looked away. A sadness on his face I'd only seen a couple of times before. I started to understand some things, and I hadn't really taken notice before, or that I'd thought much before this point. Do you love me? He spun to look at me quickly, almost stunned. You know, as more than a brother. Tyson's ears went back again, though he was scowling off to the side. What attention he was giving me was now gone again.
Damn it.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't...
How long have you known? How long have you known Dave?
Oh, that's...
Look, just... I do, right? Just don't make a big deal about it. Hard enough to think about without worrying if I'm some fag like you or something.
I flinched a little when he put it that way, and what? Oh, and as much as I wanted to retort, I kept my mouth shut in case he wanted to say more.
Maybe I was scared that you'd hate me, or expect something from me, or we had something good. I didn't want to ruin that, yeah.
I reached up his arm, which finally got him looking back at me. I don't think I could ever hate you, Ty. He huffed, reaching out to touch my face lightly. I could see the drug still making him dazed, but he was mostly there.
I'd make a shit boyfriend anyway.
You don't know that.
Yeah, and you do.
I know you'd try and not be I know you'd try and not be every day. Wait, did I say that right? Yeah, not be. Okay. Yeah. I flashed him a smile and felt his hand pull away. What hope I had that he was going to follow it up with some romantic gesture was dashed, and I eased up. So that's it then?
No, there's one more thing. Just don't know if this is whatever they drugged me with, but... You know, if you wanted to kiss me, wait. You know, if you wanted me to kiss you, I probably could do that. But not like in a gay way.
How is kissing another guy not gay?
You know. It doesn't have to be.
But if I wanted it to be. There was a moment's pause as I watched Tyson's expression shift through different phases, thinking about something before he sat up, leaning in and kissed me softly, barely placing his muzzle on mine before pulling away. Blame it on the drugs. Right. He went in again as if to emphasize his point. But firmer this time, I opened my mouth to try and kiss him back, but neither of us seemed to know how to do it best. It drove multiple hours, got overdosed. I mean, he's a good lad. He's a good lad.
I should have kissed you sooner.
My Ty looked at me, a strange mix of unease and sad, but hopeful all at once. He rubbed his throat, not throat, what? His thumb on my cheek briefly as I shuffled closer. As close as I could without feeling as if I'd end up on the floor.
So, what now?
I don't know. What did you want to happen? If you had to decide for us?
I can't.
He was overwhelmed, and even at the risk of falling over, I stood up so I could rest myself against him in a hug. It's all right. We can just figure it out later. He pulled me in close, pressing his nose against the top of my head. The hug lasted only a minute before I heard him growling, and I eased back to see what was wrong.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Always. I turned and, though was quickly pulled back, almost possessively by the bedridden wolf.
If this had been your plan, I would have arranged for something more comfortable.
Be nice, Uncle. This has been a long time coming for my intuition, if my intuition is right.
You don't say.
Tyson went to yell something, but I reached back to hold his muzzle, getting it first. What are you planning on doing with us now?
Personally, make a peace offering and send the both of you home. You're both healthy, though I have a million questions as to how all of this came about. This should have been impossible.
Just improbable. Or very unlikely, maybe. Though we're talking microcosmic levels of odds, so impossible is probably a better word after all. I told you my hypothesis was sound, borderline insanity, but any reasonable measure, by any reasonable measure, but the proof is here before us.
You're a bad influence on Roswell, Flora.
Oswin wandered closer, shaking his head.
I'm sorry for whatever it was. You came to be here.
Oh, you came to be, okay.
Dave, for every part I had in your path to this point, even the parts I don't remember. You don't remember like any of it.
It's okay, I think.
It's not. I'm genuinely fearful for your psyche. What you're going through could last years, if not the rest of your life. And for what you've given me in return is a debt I cannot repay.
What?
Well, am I on top of the topic of psyche? Psyches, what a twisted nephew you've become, Roswell. Driven, yes, but twisted.
Hey, that's not fair. I'm a man of science. I did what was necessary to achieve my goal. How is it that any different from what you did? Florencia stepped forward and grabbed the both of them by the ear, twisting. You'll have to excuse them. They're a little too similar to get along sometimes. Hey, Flora. Yes, dear? Can I take my, boyfriend home now, please? Even without looking at him, I could sense the scowl at the label I'd given him, if betrayed by the sound of his tail thumping away happily against the bed. In your condition, I don't think either of you are in any position to drive. Though, as far as driving you home, I believe I was headed your way, so we can carpool just fine. That works. What about the car we took? What about that car? Is that just gone? Did we have to leave that? Come on.
If we're all helping, then I can offer money.
You would? I eased back off the bed and felt I had enough strength in my legs to stand. Tyson took it as a sign he'd be able to do the same, but almost collapsed. Held up only because I caught him under his arms. His arm. It's still at the mansion. Yeah, but like, are they just gonna leave it? If they're gonna carpool with Flora, that means they have to, leave that car. That sounds annoying.
And what will you be offering, Roswell? I believe restitution is in order. No?
I'm sorry?
An apology, that's all.
I have a request for Roswell. Yes? We've been friends for years, but all of this, everything you thought you were doing, everything you felt right, it wasn't normal. Normal people don't think this way. Friends don't think this way. Things worked out fine this time, but by some miracle, but what if they didn't? They're still tired and drugged. Go for a swim. They'll go for a swim. You know? They'll hang out until they're better and then drive home. You know? That sounds like a reasonable thing to do. I was ready to wear that cost. And me? What about you? Wait, what would you have done or felt if my life was destroyed around me? If you'd killed Orlando, or Haas, or even Tyson? You'd be gone too, but you wouldn't have to survive being sad about them also being gone like I would. Go for a swim. Well, I mean, there's a pool. They're near the mansion. And, you know, they have a big wheelchair up there. Go for a swim. Just walk off the drugs. Yeah! Just walk off the drugs. Now, flashes of these very depths crossed my mind, and I shut my eyes quickly to try and blot them out. Did you really think so little of us that you'd resort to something like that? I don't. Just get some help, Roswell. I know it's, I know I'm going to need it. If what I remember is right, we all need it, but
How can they walk if wheelchair? Josh, wait. Wait, no, I can... Wait. Wait. Then they'll wheel away. How about that? They'll wheel it off. Is that a better wording? Is it... I didn't know how to continue from here. I didn't even know if Roswell had been given the medicine yet or not.
The choice lays before you, Roswell. Get better, be better, or walk alone.
Roswell broke and dashed out of the room, Osmond only vaguely reaching out for him as he left. Will he be okay?
He will. He's much like his father.
Like you mean? Oh, how delightful.
I'll ask if you not taunt me with that. I do not like my secrets being known without my recollection of sharing them.
You don't have control over that. Especially in this situation. It's fine. I'm sorry.
Now, if Flora will be willing to drive you home, I believe our business is concluded.
Before you go, are you going to tell him, eventually?
Someday.
Tell him today.
That is not your decision to make.
I'm his mother. I can do whatever I like when it comes to my son. Unless you're planning on stepping up and taking care of him like you always wanted to. Send Dave and his boyfriend an exorbitant amount of money and be done with it. Much like Roswell had done, though rather than in sadness but frustration, Osmond broke and left the room quickly. I was not about that. Now you all can shut up. It's fine. It's fine.
Hey, I might not get everything that's going on, but Roswell tried to kill us, right?
I believe that was the plan. Yes. To some extent, anyway. No, Ian, no. You didn't hear anything. You didn't hear anything. It's fine.
Aside from how fucked up that is, what's going to happen? He's going to jail, or...?
For what crime? Nothing happened. Though I can see an argument for conspiracy to murder.
Are you serious?
Very. As serious as I am that Osmond will also probably try throwing money at you regardless of what happens. He's only ever known money to be a problem solver, but those that don't have as much as he does. And that makes it okay? Not at all, but you're welcome to enjoy it all the same. Yo, lit! We're gonna max rarity every Digimon deck I own. Let's go. I helped Tyson walk to the entrance. See, they're walking, right? Are they not both in wheelchair? Are they walking? They walk. To the entrance with Florencia leading the way. I needed more rest, more time to just figure out what was going on and then relax, knowing it was all right. As we got outside, though, Osmond was there, watching Roswell slump on a nearby bench, and with his head in his hands. We can get there.
I wish you safe travels.
Thanks, Osmond.
Though I have one last favor I have to ask of you, even if you just consider it.
What is it? We wandered over to Tyson's car, seemingly having been brought here from the mansion, and I helped Tyson get in the back seat as Florencia moved to the driver's seat.
I do not know how clearly you remember what you've experienced, but I am going to tell Roswell the truth, and everything he should be aware of.
But why? Because he's going to be saved with that medicine?
That is a choice I am going to have to leave to him. Whether he takes that medicine or not is not something I can force upon him. But if you believe it can work, then he probably will too.
We look across the, to Roswell. Okay. Still hunched over on the other side of the car park. Car park? Okay.
The favor I have to ask you is to give him a second chance. Not now, but someday. All his actions are deserving punishment. That we can all agree. Which is why I'm planning on turning myself in for this conspiracy.
But it wasn't your idea, was it?
Thinking back to what you remember of your father, Dave. David was willing to do anything for you, his son, to keep you safe. It's about time I played the same role for my son.
He gestured for me to get into the back seat with Tyson, and when I didn't move, he patted me softly on the shoulder.
Thank you, Dave, for giving me a chance at saving my son properly.
I thought to check my phone once we were on the road and saw a bunch of panicked messages from everyone about how we were missing and that the bus never showed. Thankfully, they all went to breakfast and decided to wait it out until they heard back. Tyson and I were in the back seat, straddling that line between awkwardly distant and awkwardly close. I didn't know how best to approach the subject with him. Instead, making the first move by resting my head against his shoulder. He mumbled something, but was soon asleep. Yeah, soon asleep, though from how I could feel him against me, he was relaxed. I was quick to fall asleep next to him once I'd sent out a message to everyone to let them know we were all right, but I couldn't explain anything just yet. I would eventually, but for now I needed a decent rest. Hours later, we'd arrived back at home, with Florencia pulling the car up outside my house and stepping out. She didn't stay, handing the keys over and wandering across another parked car with a smartly dressed rabbit behind the wheel. He flashed us a smile, and they drove away, leaving just Tyson and myself alone. We got inside and collapsed on my bed, and as we've done many times before, but never with this label now attached. But it's cute. It's cute.
So, boyfriend, huh?
If that's what you want.
Dude, when you came over last night, I didn't think this is how it would go.
How did you expect this to go?
I don't know. Like, fuck. You're a completely different person than what you were yesterday.
Does that scare you? Bother you, I mean?
A little. But you're not going to scare me off. You're going to have to explain. Wait, explain what just happened like 5 more times before I get it.
Is there something you don't understand specifically?
This is moving so fast. It's making my head hurt. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy, but I was hoping to be more ready if this happened. And it scares me a bit. What if I end up like my dad and become an asshole? What would your dad have said if he was still kicking?
I think it'd be fine. He'd be fine with it. You were the one that had guy talk with him right before, you know? I reached for the phone in my pocket and checked the time. I had a few missed messages, and we were getting closer to lunchtime. I shot Dean a message saying we were still alright, but could meet up for a late lunch if they were interested. When I looked back to Tyson, he was just watching me, his tail swishing gently behind him on the bed. In tandem, yes, we both yawned, stretching and crossing into each other's personal space. Want to nap for a bit before we go meet up with the others?
Maybe in a bit, yeah. Gotta do something first.
What?
Would you like to, I guess, eat food or something? Together?
I tilt my head at him, confused for Yeah. Confused for all of a second before I realized what. Oh, like a date?
Yeah, like, I guess an actual date. So I can, do it properly.
You dork. Before we could kick up a fuss, and he was readying himself to start the moment. Wait, to start the moment I stopped talking, I shut him up by grabbing him and pulling him into a kiss. We fell asleep for a short nap, me having to set an alarm so we could at least go see the others. That never works for me. If I set an alarm for like 2 hours later or something, I sleep. The alarm left sitting there. But when it came time to wake up, Tyson was still out like a light, and I went without him. After all, explaining what had happened within the span of a night was going to be easier without Tyson being, possessive of me. It was going to be a strange time explaining this way, but I was, given time, I could, make them understand. Day 6? We just skip it. We just backflip over.
Hey, Dean, what do you think this place is going to be like anyway? I don't know.
Oh, look at Dean. He's cute.
Just nice. That we still get to have a vacation. Dave said something about something, I don't know. After hearing he was okay, I was so relieved the rest of us... Wait. Yeah, relieved the rest of us kind of became white noise. Rude. Roswell got sick suddenly and he wanted to make sure he was... and he wanted to make sure he was okay. And did you at least hear the point about him wanting to introduce us to his boyfriend? I wonder what he's like.
Oh, right. I guess they wouldn't, yeah. Yeah, right. Some of these characters wouldn't have met Tyson then, right? And by that I mean Hasu. Hasu.
He better be someone decent and treat Dave right. Hey, don't worry. I'm sure you'll find someone cute to date sometime, Dean. When you do that, let me know so I can update my my shipping chart. Or don't. At this point, it doesn't really matter, I suppose.
Dean can date me.
Remind me to ask what you mean by that when Haas and Sal aren't about to get on the train.
Oh, we're on a train. Okay. What is this face? Dean.
Oh, hey guys. Morning. Hey, excited for the trip? House on a beach, right?
Yeah! Beach, beach, beach. Beach vacation, beach episode. Let's go.
Not a mansion, but I'll take it. Yeah, well, apparently Roswell got sick and we had to do this instead. I really don't mind where we go. Yeah, we were there when Dave explained that. We know. I want to meet Dave's boyfriend. Do we have an update on Roswell? Is he even coming? No update. I sent him a message, but the only thing I got back was saying that he was currently recovering and will be out of touch for a while. Something about the treatment being kind of rough. What did he get sick with? He didn't say, but it can't have been that serious, right? He was just fine the other day. That makes some level of sense, sure. But, can we talk about this boyfriend? I'd rather not.
Dean, don't be jealous, okay? It's fine.
Hey, I just want to know if he's one of us or not. I'm assuming it isn't. Or that it's Roswell, but where would this guy have come from?
Oh, background. Okay. Oh, you made it. We get to see The happy lad was my favorite portraits. He's so cute.
Sucks about the mansion, but yeah, a beach house works out fine.
I like to think so, yeah.
Also, don't think I've forgotten about that bomb you dropped almost a week ago. About this boyfriend of yours.
Why are you on my case about it? I expect this from Orlando.
You'll meet him soon enough. Meet him soon, though. He's just parking the car. So, guess I missed my chance after all. He's a good guy, though, right?
Chance? But, yeah, he's good enough.
Meaning?
Meaning that he's trying. He's got my best interests at heart, though. That I'm sure of. But let's go. Excuse me. It shouldn't take that long to park a car.
Hey, losers. Make it here all right. What are you doing here? I'm driving you to where we're staying. But it's good to see you, Dean.
What?
Dave?
Yes?
I have a very simple question to ask you.
Yes, Tyson's my boyfriend. It's quite a story.
I'm sure it is. Shotgun. Wait, hold on. I was going to call shotgun.
Excuse me, that's my spot.
Should have called it faster, Dave. Haas, you're in charge of the music. Pick something good.
But
it's not so bad, Dave. We can sit in the back and you can explain how all of this happened.
Trust me, we're going to need more than just a car ride to cover that story. The end. Oh, that was cute. I like this cute. Tyson, happy boy. What? What? Oh my god, there's more. Oh wait, look, Dave is wearing a, he's wearing, look, he's wearing, it's open, his chest flew. Oh no.
That's quite a story.
Yeah, but that's what happened. Everything I remember anyway. Tyson's already heard it all twice over the past week, so, you know. The summer SSR, Dave. Right? Right? Is so cute. Cannot identify a shirt if it's... Look, it's like it's one of those cute button-up summary type things. Is cute.
And you're really fine. Or getting to be fine, I guess.
Josh cannot identify a lot of things I found. No more. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I think so. A lot of it is just figuring out what's real, what isn't. Tyson's helping, though.
I have to admit, he's been very nice.
He's getting there. But it's almost like having a guide on my friends. Like, that he's one-sided and just, I don't know, it feels wrong. Canonly, it's a blue Hawaiian shirt. Oh, it's cute. I'm not a sucker for those kind of things. I swear, you all can't prove anything.
So, you know all of our secrets.
Maybe not all, but enough. Not that I'll use them. It's something that I have to live with now anyway.
So what? What are you gonna do?
We have another 3 weeks left on this vacation, so I guess I'll enjoy it. But there are parts of my friends that I want to help. Like, Tyson needs a friend. Sal's really going through a lot. Same with Dean. Same with Haas, really.
And me?
that's what I wanted to talk to you about next. I know what's going to happen. What's, fated for you next. I haven't thought of a way to get you out of it yet, but I'm trying.
If you already know, then, unless you think of something, I might take Haas with me. Just treat it like a second vacation, just so I've got the company. Then after, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? What? 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 Okay! Oh, that was good! Oh god, I know why Josh is... Wait, what? Sven from Frozen? What the? Okay. But I don't know, I liked that. That was super cute. That was a good time. Thank you, Grizz. Thank you, Grizz, for making the good game. I enjoy a lot. It was so great. 144 parts, and we made it. Oh my god, I know. It's been so long. Kristoff's voice for the reindeer, Josh. Oh, I think I remember that. But yeah, I guess that's it. It's a little hard to believe. I don't know, I've been playing this game for like almost 2 years? At least like recording it and uploading it and shit. And it was it's a journey for me. It's a journey for everyone. But yeah, I'm glad I got to see it finish. Thank you, and thank you everyone for joining me. Really, this has been amazing. But yeah, it'd be better if I ended the stream here. Yeah, yes. I don't prattle on, right? So thank you again, and I'll see you around, everyone.